And I'm back. No restrictions in this thing. And as people start coming back in here, as y'all come back on here, appreciate you coming back in. Your boy's gonna give me a little bit of this lemon water. Hold on one second. Appreciate y'all coming in. I gotta keep my voice good. All right, man. But yeah, we're gonna get into the receipts this time around. No restrictions, straight receipts. Uh, I doubt anybody will come up on my panel from the opposition because they know better. That's why they block me or they drop me and stuff like that. But we gonna do it. We gonna see what we can do. I'm almost. Give me just a second. Let me just toss this in for 2 seconds. Let your boy get a little something. But yeah, we gonna go in on the receipts. Heavy, heavy, heavy. All right. That's good enough. That ain't gonna do much to cook it. I'm good. Oh, I'm coming. Let me just cut this lemon, squeeze it. All right, we good. I'm coming. All right. I'm back, man. All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all coming back up in here. I know it's gonna be slow going, getting back up in here, but I appreciate it. Let me plug my charger in before my phone starts going dead. Now, what are we gonna talk about? Now, we already started talking about the Yamassees, right? Now, to know a little bit about the history, let's go back. We just talked about how the Yamassees were part of the Seminole tribe. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate y'all being back. Mocha, everybody, all the good ones, Empress. We're just gonna go on the receipts then. And still, I still had a good enough amount of people in there, but I just want to get that restriction off of there, and I just wanted to just like go in anyway. So I was just like, let me just restart this thing. But peace and gratitude to you too. Yeah, we about to go in on these receipts because we talked about them, the Yamassees being Seminoles. We're gonna go into a little bit about the Seminoles, but then we're gonna go into more about them, and we're gonna kind of do a little live searching for this new commission that was supposed to be like like the Dawes Commission. I really didn't get a chance to go in about that today. I spent all day bullshitting away. To be honest, I'm looking up another vehicle. I'm trying to get a second vehicle. So I spent all. Well, I say I'm trying to. Here within the next few months, I might get me a second vehicle. And so I've been sitting here all day like, what am I gonna get? I done sat on this bitch for about 5, 6, 7, 8 hours listening to live streams and looking at AutoZone and I mean AutoZone, Auto Trader and CarMax and Carvana and all these other things. I got it. I got to give me something else. I don't have to, but I just want me something else. To be honest with you, I ain't get rid of my baby I got now, but mm. All right. Sorry, I had to drink a little bit of that lemon and honey. Okay, so we gonna go into these receipts. So as I showed, we know that the Yamassees were the Seminoles, and then now they don't say that the Yamassees. Let's say what it says. Let's see what it says actually about it. Before I say that, if it even tells how. It just says Seminole history begins in the bands of the Creek Indians from Georgia and Alabama who migrated to Florida in the 1700s. Conflicts with Europeans and other tribes caused them to seek new lands to live in peace. Groups of lower Creeks moved moved to Florida to get away from the dominance of the upper Creeks. Some Creeks were searching for rich new fields to plant corn, beans, and other crops. Here they go with that bullshit. I mean, not it's probably real, but I'm just they got to throw the story in the Milpa planning story in there. It's more like propaganda with them, but they did do it. For a while, Spain even encouraged these migrations to help provide a buffer between Florida and the British colonies. In 1770 is when the Florida Indians collectively became known as Seminoles. So 1770, right? A name being spelled for wild people or runaway. And so their whole reason for even existing is because they were some runaways, right? Because they were some runaways of some people. Now, of course, they just said that the lower Creeks were trying to get away from the upper Creeks, but they're not listing the lower Creeks as those runaways. But technically, I would say that's kind of running away too. But okay, it says, in addition to Creeks, Seminoles included Uchis, Yamassees, and a few other Aboriginal remnants. The population also increased with runaway slaves who found refuge among the Indians. Didn't say Africans, just say runaway slaves. Notice that. Didn't say Africans, it said runaway slaves. Who are these slaves? Who are the runaway slaves? Could it be in this newspaper that I found where it shows this is said to be the country of the ancient Yamassees, and it is in fact that the Creeks have held a slave race descended from the Yamassees nation, which has been recently but incorporated with their tribe. It is also a fact that the forts are numerous and blah, 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 blah. But as you see here, this is in the newspapers in 1825, even though they said that the Seminoles were created in 1770, right? But in 1825, it's showing you that it's still, they not really somewhat referring to these people. At least this newspaper ain't referring to them as Seminoles. They still referring to people as Creeks and Yamassees and being together. The same Creeks and Yamassees that are listed as being on the damn Seminole tribe. But they also said that the Yamassees were a slave race that the Creeks had in their possession and incorporated into the tribe. So could the Yamassees be those runaway slaves that they're talking about? So I had to drink some more of that good old lemon and tea and honey tea, whatever. And it does feel pretty good. Runaway slaves. Could the Yamassees be the runaway slaves, and they're trying to say that they're Africans now, right? They're trying to claim them to be Africans now. Well, you can't trust every government document, because even some of these government documents, like this from archive.gov, as I was showing, shows the Yamassee was one of the historic tribes. And it said no federal records appeared, or they disappeared at a historical record after 1727. But how could they disappear at a historical record? But at the same time, you also know that in 1770 they became Florida Indians. The Yamassees became Seminole Florida Indians. So if you know that it's like, are two departments not speaking to each other at the government, or what's going on, right? Because I would say that somebody had to know that they existed in records. They moved over, but okay. So yeah, can you always trust those? Not necessarily per se. But here's the map I was looking for. Somebody was trying to say, how could you be Yamassee and Geechee at the same time? Well, Wale is the Geechee area, and there's Yamassee area, right next to each other. You can easily be both. In fact, you should be that in both, and many things behind you, because you would want to procreate with other different tribes. You would want to procreate with different families, right? Not close families, because that is what other people do that we know, right? A lot of other people do that shit. We ain't never did that. We ain't been like that. And in fact, I think I got some documents that say the Indians was not on that type of time. Let me see. Let me see. Between the men and women, the clan was considered incestuous. So this is somebody else. The being between the men, marriage between the men and the women of the same clan was considered. Oh, right here. This says, what is this from? It's from the Tennessee Encyclopedia.net, but they relied on intensive hold. I did that, but I obviously didn't do it for this. But this says that marriage between a man and a woman of the same clan was considered incestuous. Okay, that's one thing that talks about it. But let's see what else I had that with it. What is that? No, that says ancestors. This must be translated from an old book. It says they observe no other restrictions of kinship except between mother, daughter, and sister, and this out of fear. They firmly believe that whoever committed incest would unalive a horrible unaliving. They wash their newborns in cold water to harden their body, and even the mothers of themselves in cold whatever. And who are they talking about? I can show you. Let's see. Showing photos. Ooh. I don't know which photo it's gonna be in. But one of these books, as you can see, it took me straight. Here is one of these damn pages. And the book would be one of these. It's usually the first title page back. Okay, it's probably the Nueva España from 1551 in the Library of Congress. libraryofcongress.gov. And that's just to show that they were talking about the Indians in New Spain, which would be on the mainland, and Mexico, which would be outside, which would be down in the Mexico area. And in one of those areas, in one of the tribes, they was talking about how they don't do that whole incest stuff. Okay, so let's go back. So we know for sure that the Yamassee are Seminole. Now, were the Seminoles ever enslaved? Because what they try to say is that the black Seminoles were enslaved to the red men when they got down there. Even so, it's like, come on, think about this. It's really an idiotic story. You're trying to tell me that people fled slavery to go down to be put in slavery again, but it just wasn't as hard slavery when they start saying that. Because I'll show you here. There's this one dude that man, did I record that video? I don't think I recorded that little piece. No, let me see if I still got it up. As y'all can see, I was looking at cars. Should I get a drop top? I don't know. Tripping. I really do want to get a drop top, to be honest with you. Let's see. Let's see if I still got it up. Yeah, right here. So just to talk about it, just to show, these people will try to say we was slaves to the red man, and it'd be the most nobodiest of nobody saying this shit.
Maroon communities along Angola,
where they could farm, where they could live in freedom, although also beyond.
Hold on, right here.
But that dehumanization never occurred. That people were allowed to marry who they wanted. Children were not sold off. Black Seminoles may have had to provide some of their agricultural product for their Seminole quote owners, but they were able to live in their own communities, live their own lives.
By 18...
Let me see if I got the beginning of that bitch.
The battle sites of the First and Second Seminole Wars. In 1817, a wealthy slave owner from Tennessee, U.S. General Andrew Jackson, began invading Spanish Florida, determined to capture runaway slaves and eliminate the Seminoles. With a force of 4,000 soldiers, they burned down Black Seminole and Seminole villages across North Florida.
We have welcomed
black men, women, and children who've come here escaping bondage.
Who the hell is that saying that in the background? And why do they got him in the background like it's some dramatic thing? We helped them escape bondage, the black men and women and children. You lying motherfucker. You ain't even showing your face.
Many now live among us in harmony, but still the whites pursue.
Although some African Americans and Seminoles married, many black Seminoles were subjected to a form of slavery by the Seminole Indians.
So why would they escape slavery to be subjected to a form of slavery, and they was marrying these slaves? None of that makes sense.
They had tributary relationships with some of these escaped slaves, but that dehumanization never occurred. That people were allowed to marry who they wanted, children were not sold off. Black Seminoles may have had to provide some of their agricultural products for their Seminole, quote, owners, but they were able to live in their own communities, live their own lives.
By 1820, repeated attacks pushed at least 700 black Seminoles further south along a river near Bradenton.
So either way, they bullshitting. And then even when you look at the stats on the tribe at that time, what was the numbers? Even though they probably bullshitting with that too. It says that the Seminole Indians, they say that there was like about 1,700 of them, 1,800 of them that were regular Indians, and about 800 of them that was Negroes. Even though, whatever. That's what you'll see in the census. But this was in 1894. So by this time, you have corruption already setting in. 1866, you get these treaties that we talked about that started to actually separate who was freedmen all of a sudden and who was not an Indian, and calling these people freedmen. They never called them freedmen before that. I ain't seen no reference to slaves in the treaties before that. I ain't seen no references to Negroes that they had before that in the treaties. Every time they had to move locations, I ain't seen them say, hey, we're going to take our Negroes with us too. I ain't never seen none of that. But at the same time, all of a sudden, in 1866, all the tribes had to make this decision about these Negroes. Like, you don't just all come together randomly and make all these treaties separately on different tribes in different areas, and y'all all say, well, we need to separate out these freedmen people. And they try to say, well, that's because because of the World War. You see, what happened was it was the Emancipation Proclamation, you see, had freed the slaves, and so you had no choice. You had to free them, you see, so you needed a new treaty to accompany that. And we need to get Albert Pike, one of the Masons, along with our Masonic. I'm gonna do this new thing along with our Masonic chiefs. I'm gonna do this one thing where I'm gonna look up the grave sites of every chief that was around for the signing of the 1866 treaty at the time, and see if they have a Masonic symbol on it. And then I'm gonna do a video about it and do it about Albert Pike and show how come because what you need is hard proof, and you don't get and you're gonna see that because I'll show you like this. Watch, I bet it's easy. Greenwood LaFleur gravesite. It's easy to find their grave sites. Come on, now I'm trying to zoom in. Hold on, y'all. Let me screenshot it so I can zoom in. Let me see. It might go around it. Dancing Rabbit Treaty, that dude. I wanted to see around the grave. Boy, that's kind of scary looking right there, ain't it? What did that say? Chieftain Greenwood LaFleur and the Chickasaw and the Choctaw Indians in the Mississippi Valley. Okay. Just kind of proof he was in books. They didn't show, and I can probably find it in the somewhere else though. I'm gonna zoom in on that here in a second, but let me images, and I think we know for sure because old boy said that they was. Greenwood. Sometimes they have it on their motherfucking. They be proud. Sometimes they had that thing on their motherfucking whatever. And if I can't find it on all of their grave sites, then I will I wish I could see around that thing. And then I will look for other proof that I can to prove as much of as a hard proof as possible to prove that they was Masons and in cahoots on this whole deal. Let me just do this real quick, and then we'll get back to the facts. Damn, it's tripping. Mason. The Ford Choctaw salesman planned their home burial site in Luzon. And Mal Mason. It's kind of funny. That's the name of the place, Mal Mason. The name of the name of the area that he his historical marker is Mal Mason. But yeah, Mason has an I in it, but pretty damn funny. Mal Mason, a historic colonial area. Let's see what the hell that says as well. Now let's see what this is real quick. There's a Greenwood Lodge, huh? I wonder is Greenwood Lodge in Mississippi? Yeah, it's in Mississippi. Oh, is that where Greenwood LaFleur was at? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this is the Greenwood Lodge. They don't say LaFleur, though. It's a subordinate lodge of the Grand Lodge of Mississippi FA&M. We first met, whatever. Let me go to their little about. That's what they look like right now, right? They got they got 1.2 thousand followers. Okay, they're doing their little thing. You see, I'll be getting into people's information if you're online. I'm pretty sure this is named after him. It's in Greenwood County, and I think Greenwood County is likely named after him. Let's take a look. I bet money. You see, you just follow the rabbit holes. Greenwood, Mississippi. History of Greenwood, Mississippi. You just follow the rabbit holes. You know, it's fun. Let's go down. We'll just look at a quick little whatever. I could be wrong. It could be settled by somebody else. Let's take a look. It may have nothing to do with LaFleur. The Greenwood, Mississippi. Williams Landing, the first settlement on the banks of the Yazoo River, was a trading post founded by John Williams. Williams Landing, blah, 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 blah. Civil War happens. Chattahoochee, Tallahatchie, Yazoo Rivers, blah, blah, blah. Reconstruction. Okay. The Chiefs get up there and start bullshitting, right? The railroads, the Yazoo, whatever, City of Oaks. Where does it get its name? Greenwood's Grand Boulevard was once America. Where does it get its name? I may have skipped over it. Let me just do this real quick. Just see where all the word Greenwood is on this bitch. 14 times. All right, Greenwood, cheap. Oh yeah, right there. I missed it at the top. It says, it says the floodplain long before the Europeans migrated and the Choctaw Nation Indians settled in the Delta marshes and the swamp area. 1830 in the Dancing Rabbit Treaty, which I talk about all the time. Creek was signed by Greenwood LaFleur, opening the swamplands to European settlers. Incorporated as Greenwood, named after Chief Greenwood. So y'all just missed it. My skimming ass done missed it. So it's named after him. I'm pretty sure that lodge is named after his ass. I'm pretty sure. Let me just screenshot these things because these are my hard proofs, right? And I'm about to miss it for the video, but I'm gonna do this for each one of the people. We ain't finna do that today right now, but let me just highlight this area because I've been bad about not highlighting shit. And then I'll take a screenshot. I'll be like, nigga, why did I screenshot this? So we got that leading up to this, right? I'll just get that screenshot. We'll come down to show that it's in Mississippi, right, in the video. And then we'll come back and we'll just get a shot of Mr. Greenwood LaFleur here. I can just easily do that, whatever. That'll be for the video later, all right? So that's pretty much going to prove he was a goddamn... And I'm pretty sure if I go to all... I could probably find something in here that would talk about it. Let's see. All about Greenwood, Mississippi. Jim Maul Mason, whatever. Maybe not. I may not find too much more information, but it's about following those small clues. Let me just see real quick if it's listed in here. Find on page Mason. Nope. But something about that whole Maul Mason thing is intriguing to me. But okay, so we're gonna get off of him. All right. So, but at the time, these were some of your folks that were signing these treaties that these folks are under, and that some of our people unfortunately got messed up over. And that I'm talking about that because that's getting back into the whole Seminole thing. Because the Yamassees became the Seminole after they ran away from the North. And why was they running away from the North? Well, let me just show you that real quick. Indian Wars timeline. Because of some Indian Wars, obviously I just said it, right? But Indian Wars timeline, if you look and see, we're gonna match these dates up though. Let's just do a find on page so I ain't gotta figure it out. Yamassee. All right, the Yamassee tribe. You had the Yamassee War. When was the Yamassee War? When was the Yamassee War? My bad. 1715 to 1718. What happened? Rebelling against former allies, the Yamassee tribe, aligned with the Catawba and others, attacked the English in the South Carolina colonies, triggered by treaty violations, encroachments, and fur trade battles. Once defeated, many Indians retreated to Florida. Does that sound like a runaway? Right? If you're retreating to Florida after a war, wouldn't you call that a runaway? Okay? These people be playing goddamn games. And later forming the Seminole tribe. It even tells you that right there. Now let me just do that right there, because I don't even think I got a screenshot of it. I always knew it was there though. So then that was 1717. So to 1718. So when we go back and look at some of those Yamassee receipts, it said that the Seminoles got formed around 1770. So that means the Yamassees went down there and was around after that war. It was after that war and was down there for some time until eventually somebody wanted to call them a Seminole. But they was Yamassees. Why would you call them a Seminole? Okay? Because remember, it ain't like they called themselves Seminoles unless they did. I got to check that. Now, they probably did over time, yeah. But what I mean by that is I'm not 100% sure if they call themselves Seminoles or the Spanish. The story is the Spanish called them Seminoles. So they lost the territory to Irish immigrants. Misnomers, exactly. Reading comprehension is at an all-time low right now, yeah. And yeah, they lost their territory. Yeah, all them settlers coming up in there in South Carolina. They started Charles Fort. And let's talk about that real quick. Let's do the little quick visual history on that. They started Charles. Let's do the map is gonna be somewhere over here under Chicora. Hold on 1 second. Where you at? Right here. Okay. One of these maps. Okay. I think it's that one, but hold up. Yeah, okay. So Chicora is the old name of where the Geechee area is, where the all that stuff is. Okay, it used to all these kingdoms, whatever. It used to be called the Kingdom of Chicora, and the Yamassees, Wale was the language. The Uchis, Yamassees, Timucuas, all kind of people lived around us. But in this particular area, I think Timucuas might have been a little bit more down, but this would be kind of that area I showed y'all where it said Wale and Yamassee was at. But as you see, you have a Charles Fort, because I didn't know this. I didn't even have to look into the town. Once I saw it, I was like, oh, Charles Fort becomes Charlestown. And you think about what a fort is. A fort is a fortification to protect you from people while you try to attack people. So you imagine the YT folks pulling up here, building a fort around here so they could protect themselves like little bitches, and then going out and attacking and then running back to their fort. And I got books that I was reading. I'll see if I can pull up a passage where it talks about that. They would run they said them and the black slaves they had would run back to their forts while the Seminoles at the time kept coming up there and raiding. And at some point, but then they try to say at some point these slaves went to go join them. But it's like, well, wait a minute. They were just trying to off y'all with the white folks, according to your story. So the stories can get a little convoluted. But what I'm getting to is you start a fort before you start the town. So Charles Fort eventually becomes Charlestown. So you set up a fort, fortify yourself, start offing people around you, right? Start making them move out, first you befriend them and act like you just building some shit and just chilling. Then you go on a rampage like a little hoe and start doing all kind of crazy shit. And then once you've cleared out the area, you now allow new settlers to come in and they can start settling along here. As they are settled along here, you go out and build a new fort somewhere else, right? And that's what I started realizing. That's why there's so many forts around our goddamn United States. I thought these were just military training facilities that they just kind of set up. But in a sense, it was back then, every time they would build a fort, they would likely sit here, build a fort, fuck y'all up, make you move, or whatever, sign some treaties, do some deceptive shit, and once you done left, now some more people come up in here, and they move that way, and some more people come to the coast. And they keep going to building forts. And I wish at some point, it would be nice to have somebody map out the creations of forts in a chronological order in the United States. Now, I bet if we were to look at the fort creations, we might be able to see the patterns they took to take us over, and we'd have to look at the forts from all different areas because there's a lot of forts. There's a whole lot of forts. Excuse me. And then you start thinking about these battles. They say battle at fort this and battle at fort that. My bad, I'm about to roll me up one, go on a little tangent as y'all look at that. But like battle at fort this. Why is there a battle always at your goddamn fort? Well, maybe because you came on somebody else's land and built a goddamn fort. And then started going out and hitting us and getting us or whatever. And see, think about this. They had guns and we didn't. So their forts really kind of helped them. And they also had cannons. They had a few things. They didn't just have, some of them just had the muskets. You know what I'm saying? And the muskets are still some bullshit, but at the same time, if you got enough people with muskets, they can fire back to back and keep, in succession and try to, and they can hurt you, and especially if you got on armor. And a lot of them, they say will wear these armor and stuff. Now, that's if you want to believe all the stories from these voyages, and I believe some of them. I read and take heed to some of the stuff, but I also understand some stuff is a little fluff. I also do understand that some history could be rewritten, right? So wasn't Jamestown considered a fort? I could be wrong. You know what? I bet it was. Let's see if was there a James fort? Actually, let's ask ChatGPT. Was Jamestown a fort before it was a town? Question mark. And there's the answer. Started as a military fort in 1607. In fact, we could probably do it through, I'll probably ask ChatGPT to give me a goddamn chronological order. I'm going to ask and see if it go haywire. Try Fort James. Let me see if it'll just give us a whatchamacallit. Give me a chronological order of the creation of forts in America. Give me a chronological order. All right, let's see. Let's see what it do. That might be a little hard for it. Damn. Okay, go ahead with it then. Go ahead with it then. That motherfucker pushing. Okay, got it broke up in. Okay, we gonna look at this. Okay, we gonna have to look at this. I know that was fast as hell. It's like, oh, you need that? You need that? I got that information. And information like that should be readily available because we do know that they do tell a lot of the history of these towns. They try to make up something, you know, so they got some dates stamped on it. So I'm not surprised they could find this. And we about to go down and just kind of skim through the list. Hold on 1 second, I'm almost done with my little roll up. But yeah, that's all. And then like, I wonder if I can ask it to create a map for me with these. Let me see if that'll work. Real quick. Hold on. Can you create a map showing these chronological forts? Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Said it will. All right then. I paid a little $20 or whatever it is a month. I hope it do. I pay a little monthly, so I hope it do. I was creating the image. So yeah, lots of historical data, yeah. And just think about it, like I wonder really what it's gonna show, but I really feel like that will kind of depend, and we'll see how I list it out, but I really feel like that can kind of help show like how things happen here. Because these people were, I mean, there's just too many forts around to just say that they were just building forts for military training facilities out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden battles happening at all of them. There's a reason for all that. Oh, I can kind of see it happening. I said it would create a map and put on a shirt. We ain't trying to see all that skin. You should have put on a shirt. See, this is why I don't be on camera, because I could be hella comfortable. I could be super comfortable, and I could smoke. But I do need to eventually get myself on the motherfucking professional camera, though. I really do need to do that. All right, let me download it first. Save the photos and pull it up in the photos. All right, all the forts here. Now we were just looking at Charles Fort, and notice how Charles Fort isn't listed, but it says Fort Duquesne. I don't know if that's supposed to be it. I mean, I'm about to ask it to list the rest of them on here. This doesn't look like all of them. You got James Fort, 1607, 1614, and they don't list the dates about all of them. Man, they did a poor job of this. They did a hella poor job. Saint Augustine. I wonder there might have been St. Augustine's over there too, but St. Augustine was over here, and they don't even show the St. Augustine over here. Yeah, I don't know about that. Redo it until oh man, see, I get tired. I can't do Chat GPT like that, man. I know that's the thing. Just reprompt it a few times and you'll be good. But what's up, man? I appreciate that, but I just can't do it. It just made up. Y'all, maybe one of y'all can reprompt it for me, and y'all can get one that's super dope and accurate and send it to your boy, because I ain't got the patience for ChatGPT for that shit. All right, well, do it again, but actually do it the way I said. You gotta be overly direct. I see, man, I ain't got the patience for it, but I get it. It tried, but at least gave me the list. And the list is pretty important. As you can see, the list is pretty important. We'd have to go through each one. It'd be harder to really get a visual and get an idea on this one. And who's to say they got them all on here? I'm really kind of curious if they're all listed here or not. Because, like, I don't see... Let me see. Yeah, I know some forts that I'm not seeing. Like, some that's in Oklahoma. Fort, that's in Lawton, Oklahoma. Fort Smith. I don't see that in here. Fort Miami. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, this is another thing. You know, look, I like ChatGPT. It does help me out on translating and transcribing stuff and stuff like that. But you know, I trust my research way more than I trust theirs. So then let's look at some Seminole Indians. So now we talked about the Seminole Indians. Now these would have been some of your black Seminole scouts. These people would also be Yamassee. Some of them. Some of them might be Yuchi. Some of them remember being something else, Creek, which is Shawnee or Yuchi, really. So Shawnee, Yuchi, Yamassee, maybe it's something else. Okay, but these would be your Seminoles. And you do not see the red man with these Seminoles. You do not see it. This is supposed to be one of the few times that I saw that they had a so-called Seminole with somebody that looks like an Asiatic. Okay? And as we know, the Asiatics were here, as we can see. Let's go back to that little clip video that I had here.
No. St. Malo was a small fishing village in southern Louisiana that was settled by Filipino sailors in the first half of the 19th century. At its peak, the settlement had roughly 150 inhabitants, mostly Filipino men, but it also included their native-born wives and children. They lived in houses perched on stilts above the water, and their main form of subsistence commercial activity was fishing and gathering oysters. And although St. Malo
So these people want you to think that these Filipinos just went away. They want you to forget that a Filipino even exists, but they're the real. They want you to believe they're the real Indians. They want you to believe that when you see this, that's the Indian, even though we know Filipinos was coming around, okay, as well as other folks, and not just because that dude said so, but also because I got photographs, because she looks just like one of the folks in the Seminole Gilcrease archives. She looked like she could be this person's daughter or granddaughter. I'm about to show you. And these people know this. These people know that they come from somewhere else. These people know they playing games. At this point, they playing games. She looks exactly like that dude right there, like her daughter. Okay, and he is not a real Seminole, although he is adopted into the Seminole tribe. When we look at these folks, we can tell exactly what they are. Like that guy right there, he is not a Seminole. Okay. He is not an indigenous person. He doesn't even look like the people. That's my main thing, too. They don't even look like the people they try to put in our face now to say are Indians, okay? He looks exactly like a Mexican, Spaniard, light-skinned person. This person looks like some fucking Afghani fucking whatever. Same thing with this dude, this old scrunch-faced bastard. And then you got Mr. Wong, the Asian over here, okay? And we're not Asiatic. Well, what the fuck is this? If you ain't Asiatic, if he ain't Asiatic, I don't know what an Asiatic look like. But that would be that they want you to think these people just went away. And it's funny because these people are still trying to tell their stories. Like this dude right here. You just got to think about it. Like this dude right here just felt compelled to tell his story. Like, hey, I'm a Filipino and I want to tell the history about my people coming to this shores. I feel like the history's being left out, and I trust him. I trust that he wants to tell his story about his people coming to these shores. And I'm going to use him to prove that when these people get here around that time, they start going to these schools. Because a lot of the people at these schools could look like either Filipinos or white. They just look like a Italian white tea kind of German kind of dude, to be honest. Some of these people look like that. Let's look at some of the ones that are more Filipino looking. Hell, these are white folks, but that's from a later. People like this. This is the Indian school. And they want you to believe these are not Filipinos. Okay? They got the I'm a 70s Filipino look hair. Okay? They got the I'm a Filipino facial structure. Okay? But they want you to believe these people are, and there's some mixtures in there too. Some of these people ain't just straight Filipino. And really these Filipinos aren't the real Filipinos, to be honest with you. That's a whole nother, thing of that like that. But when you look at that, and then you look at this guy, yeah, he looks like he's morally and highly whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like he's all about good, honest morals and whatever, you know. That's it. He looks like he has an honest face, right? He wouldn't be corrupt whatsoever. He's not a Mason either, right? I bet he's not a Mason. You think these people are not Masons? You think these people aren't also getting paid to establish this school and make this happen? Think about that. When you put money behind it, yeah, he'll go gather up as many Filipinos as you just said and throw them in a building and act like he putting together an Indian school. You gonna throw some money in his pocket. And you mean to tell me these people, and you got to think about this too. This yearbook, this comes from the Stewart Indian School. What year was this? This is 1946, y'all. Dolores Kane, okay, the Filipino or whatever she is. Stanley Howard. The Chinese Filipino or the Chinese, I don't know, man. These people, they facial structures get so close, I can't tell. Jocelyn Jackson. They didn't know how to spell Jocelyn like we spell Jocelyn, so they spelled it that way. Because they took the name, obviously, they wouldn't have goddamn Jackson, right? With the goddamn Kyle was in California, no. And we don't spell Jocelyn that way. They don't spell it the hood way with a Y, right? They thought they knew what they was doing when they stole the names, but unfortunately not. Oh, look at this, y'all. I had never seen this. Earl Dunn. Oh, let me screenshot that. I didn't know the Dunn surname was propagated to the Indian schools in goddamn Nevada. I thought Dunn denoted a brown complected person from Europe. It also denotes a goddamn, well, they gave us those names. Well, why they give you that one? Huh? And who'd they take it from? Huh? Ain't that wow, right? He ain't no Dunn, right? Ain't that a bitch? Goddamn Mexican. He looks more like a Mexican compared to that. Like they okay, look, y'all. They want you to literally think that this dude and this dude are really the same. Yeah, we're just different tribes, bro. I'm the California Big Pine tribe, and he's the Nevada Paiute tribe. Now, never mind, I look Asiatic and he looks Spaniard. But just go with it. And the last names are stolen. Just never mind all this corruption that's in your face. In the 1950s, mind you. And mind you, these people are supposed to be highly mixed with YTs or black folks when they got here, right? Well, it don't look like they've mixed with us. It looks like they've been mixing with a bunch of inconspicuous motherfuckers their whole lives. Japanese mixing with Chinese, mixing with Filipinos, mixing with other people you can't really tell the difference of. Okay? And they be on these live stream panels talking shit because they don't know basic history. There's a Viola Allen, okay? That looks just like a viola. You know what I'm saying? I understand that we got violas. Look, they tried to throw curls in their hair back then, y'all. Do y'all notice that? I'm just not noticed that. They really was trying to throw curls in their hair back in the day. Like, literally, they was trying to take your spot. I got curly straight hair. My name is Viola Allen, and my best friend is Jocelyn, spelled like a white person and looking like a Chinese woman. And there's our homeboy Eben, who I don't know what to call him. Really, a Russian. He's got a hard right there. That's a hard one, and he could be like a Russian mixed with something. But yeah, like these are the people that I was just showing you. So we know that these people are not. None of these people look like they've been mixed with anybody. Everybody. That's why they be like, my parents were full blooded. Yeah, full blooded Filipino, full blooded Japanese, nigga. And to be honest, I don't even think though y'all can't really be full blood. Can you really be this bright and be full anything? To be honest, y'all really is just a mixture of a bunch of anything. There ain't really no full blooded Chinese person like that, is it? Except for maybe those black ones. Those black ones would be full blooded Chinese. I don't know what these folks are, right? Full genetic something. Exactly, make sense. They all Caucasian. Exactly. No, you can't. Yeah, they really can't be original. Yeah, they can't be original. You said who's in the window? more Asiatics. More Asiatics, to be honest with you. So yeah, and this is 1950. And people like this. You know what I'm saying? He looked like he could be the star of a new movie about Napoleon Dynamite. What is it, Napoleon Dynamite, nigga? That could be the new Napoleon Dynamite, the new Pedro in the movie, nigga. Popo Pedro. Please, Popo Pedro. These niggas better get out of here, nigga. No, that's Pedro right there, Popo Pedro. They all gonna say it for you, Popo Pedro. Why y'all voices sounding like y'all skinny and small? Nigga, look at that shit. What the hell? That's a Jersey Shore bitch right there. Cosplaying as an Indian. Frankie have a lot. Look at these folks, man. They want you to believe, boy. They say no China. That's a straight Chinaman right there. That's more your Japanese because he got them wide eyes. Yeah, he's Japanese with them wide eyes and that flat face. I'm starting to find them. I'm starting to figure them out. Look, y'all, that was 1970s. So imagine these people. Have these people really been on the shores for at least, let's say, 50, 70, 80, 90 years, only procreating with each other? Or do you think he was just shipped here not that long ago? Do you think they just kind of got shipped here right about the time they, got up in these schools? You know what I'm saying? Because they damn sure ain't mixed with no white folks, or they may have mixed with a couple white folks, but they damn sure ain't mixed with none of us. Remember, they want you to tell us there was a lot of Indians that mixed with black folks. We loved y'all. We love niggas. But as I go through, I don't see a piece of melanin, a piece of our phenotype, a piece. Is that us right now? Nah, I don't think so. I think it's just blurry. I think she's just cosplaying pretty good, just like she trying to cosplay pretty good. I think that's what that is. Yeah, and this is 1954, y'all, at the Phoenix Indian High School. Okay. Now that's different. Now that I look at that, no, because they still say these are the Indian high schools. Yeah, Indian high school. Yeah, my bad. At first I was about to say that's since they say Indian high school, maybe they just meant by like sometimes they'll have a school named after an Indian tribe, but it'd be like a bunch of white folks in it or something. Kind of Oklahoma has a lot of that, but I was about to say I think that's it. But no, Indian high school means a high school for Indians, nigga. That's what they did. Now, that doesn't mean that these people are Indians. That's just what they incorporated the name of the school. So think about that. You incorporate the name of the schools in the area where you send a bunch of folks that you just brought in on boats, and then when they done with their school, they gonna believe they're Indians, nigga, because they went to the Indian high school. Yeah, they that simple. That's all you need to do for them. Just let them go through that. You ain't even got to teach them too much. Just send them through the Indian schools. They'll believe being Indians right after that. All right. So yeah, these people, and then you got this right here. That these people, Native Americans did fight in World War One. I didn't. Not like I didn't know, right? And now let me say this too. These Indian schools I'm showing you are in 1954. After they've done with all the war, citizenship stuff, they're still bringing in immigrants. Because like I told you, these people ain't just here just mixing amongst themselves. And I mean, to a degree, I guess they are now, you know. I ain't gonna lie, because ain't nobody messing with them folks but them folks. But you know, these people try to say they are the real. But as we seen, they were going out in really Indian schools, the Indian schools of the past, and more like 1918 down here, Indian schools from the past were military training facilities. Most of those got closed, and then eventually some of them got morphed into these other schools. They started like, okay, let's turn it into a real school now. Cause I'll tell you like this. Let's see if I got it. Like the Chilocco High School. The Chilocco. This is a Chilocco 1933 yearbook. But before we look at 1933, we're gonna look at Chilocco 1919. What's the difference? Excuse me. Okay, so as we get in here, you're going to see these are some of your students, right? And the prophet, Arthur Johnson, David Wright, Myrtle Colbert, but that's really Colbert, Nikki, that's really Colbert. I think that's how they spelled it before in other ways, Colbert. And it was also spelled another kind of way too, but I could be wrong. But I think that, look at that. Remember we saw Mr. Albert Pike. That's Mr. Albert Pike, the melanated Mexican. Now, when you look at him, he's melanated, right? So you never seen that one. Yeah, I want to say it's spelled, but I think it's spelled Clavert. I think it's Colvert, and I think they kind of got it spelled a little bit off. But Colvert is what Colbert used to be when it was in Europe or some shit. But when you look at this dude's phenotype, he could have some of us in him, but he also could have a Hindustan person in him, right? That could be some of the melanation because the hair is straighter than a bitch. But he also could be one of the few that got us in him, but they named him Alfred Pike, or Alfred Pike, but I don't really believe it. But that'd be the most darkest person I've ever seen in this book. These young folks like this, they look, to be honest now, that looks like a Spaniard, and I don't even think it's melanated. I think these black and white photos try to make us think these people look melanated. Straight Spaniard looking folks, or some kind of sort of over there, because there's different type of Spaniard looking folks, Afghan looking folks, Iranian looking folks, Syrian looking folks, whatever looking folks as we've looked at before. But all of these people in here now, you got this. And then when you look at their class stuff, now this is how the women are dressed. At first, I didn't know what that all white outfit was, but that's really women's military outfits, but like women's aides, like nurses and some of the sort. But I didn't know that at first. At first, I was like, what the hell is that? And then you'll notice over here, these people are in military outfits, and the women are also in their supporting military outfit attire. Whoops. And then we'll go down a little bit, but you'll notice I'll just show another that everybody's in military outfits. So this is what's going on, and it even tells you these are the ones that served Uncle Sam. Here's the people, seniors, who served Uncle Sam. Okay. So you got it's a theme throughout the whole damn book, okay? Not one. Now you got a little bit of plan. You know, somebody said let's get a soccer team or something in this bitch, and then you got the graduates, and then that's about it, okay? So that's 1919. Now let's look at Chilocco in 1933. How different is it? Well, they got color, okay, at least on some of it. That's pathetic, right? Hella pathetic, but okay, they thought that was funny. These are your superintendents, okay? These are people who worked at the school. Whoops. Let's get down to the folks. Now we got more photos of the school. We got people. They still look like immigrants, right? Like, quit playing with me with this dude right here, right? Quit playing with me with that dude right there. All of these, quit playing with me, okay? These people are playing games, okay? They really trying to toe that line of in-betweenism. You know, they look white, but they not white, but they white, but they not white. I don't understand what the hell they are. and they understood that we didn't either at the time, and still kind of don't. As we look at these, we can tell many of these are very different. Like, some of these are just straight up YT folks. But him, he's like now that's more like you can definitely see the Hindustani in him, but with a white, very light hue. Definitely, I can see the Hindustan in him, though. Good gosh. Yeah, these people, okay, so at least they got some folks in here, right? So we're going to keep going down. At least let's see what kind of activities. Were they still doing military activities in the school? Or you think they cut that out? Everybody's dressed up in suits. Let me do this little thing. Everybody's dressed up in suits. Okay, where the military stuff go? Everybody's dressed up. That's the freshman class. Okay, all right. People dressed up in outfits. Okay, these are the farmers. The last farmers had military outfits on. The agriculture club. All right. Looks like they switched it up. I wonder why they switched it up so dynamically. All the women ain't wearing all white outfits anymore. Yeah, a little individualism is allowed now. Or what's going on? Why the change up? Why it's so different? Everybody's got on suits. Ain't that something? See, when you see stuff like this and you notice these types of changes, that's how you got to realize that's white folks covering their tracks. This is literally white. When you do something and you realize, whoops, we did kind of put the yearbooks. We did kind of put people in the yearbooks in military outfits. Let's kind of change this up a little bit and just make these schools regular schools and not put that military shit in there. Now, some of these people still may have went through military service, but they damn sure ain't showing it. But they damn sure was proud about it before. Just 20 years, less than 20 years before. What was 1919 is 1930 something? Less than 12 years before or so, 15 years before. Everybody was ready for woke. Everybody was ready for woke. Now, nobody cared about war. Not a single page, no JROTC. Y'all done shut down the JROTC program and shit, nigga. I guess that's what it is. And I'm supposed to think none the wiser, right? I'm not supposed to look into that. Just accept the fact that it turned. Because if I was to show these to somebody, their excuse is going to say, well, yeah, when they first started, the war was going on and it was a hard time for everybody. And it was all hands on deck. And then after the war, there was no need for war schools. You see, I mean, now we can just use the school as a normal school, and that's what you see there. It's not that they were wanting to do that. They forced us to go to these schools, and then they forced us to be military personnel and put us on the front lines. Okay, yeah, right. Okay. As soon as they put a gun to y'all in y'all hands, y'all should have used that against them. As a group, they're going to train up, think about that, they're going to train up a whole group of people that don't like them in firearms, right? Hold on, let's look at this photo. They got a small little staff, and they're going to train up all these folks for military service, and some of the photos in some of the other schools, they all got a rifle in their hand. You gonna put a rifle in all of their hand, and they forced you to go there. They forced your ass there. Hello? They done forced you there. I said never accountability. They ain't never gonna take no accountability. They don't never tell the truth either. We gonna force the truth on their ass though. But so they force you to go here. They train you up in military fashion, place you with weapons, and help you use them. And y'all don't just, as a battalion, turn it on them and free yourselves from the so-called bondage that your parents was crying that they sent you off to. You know what I'm saying? These people be lying, and that's the thing. These people be lying. Okay. And we're going to get even more so into it. But, here's another school, the Albuquerque Indian School, right? And what the hell do these people look like, right? In fact, and they always got to do this black and white thing. And I'm going to tell y'all why I know this. Because this was taken, it says it was taken, it don't have a date actually. Oh, no, it does. 1910, photographed in 1910. And they may not have had color photography back then. But I did show that our people did go to schools, did go to Indian schools. And our Indian schools, we did look like we was going to schools. We did not look like we was going to some military service like these fools. Like, how y'all gonna be doing all this and it's just one little white chick and a couple folks running? Boy, y'all got to be, and they got y'all training and stuff, man. And they might have been a little young, but either way, we wasn't training for anything like that. Not to say that we wasn't ready for war, but we knew how to build homes and build multi-level school buildings, things of that nature. So yeah, let me get a drink of this. Hold on. I really do think it's the way that I be sitting that be causing mine, because I can talk more than this. I think I'm going to have to start being on my professional setup. Who they fooling? They ain't fooling us. And now we're going to talk about also how the Seminoles, which are partly the Yamassees, how they were not slaves. Because we did watch that video where dude tried to say they was a slave, right? Well, for those who've seen, we're just going to go through it real quick. These people didn't even leave the area until 1856 on the last battle they had. All right, their last battle, 1856. Probably said on one of my little receipts. One of my receipts somewhere, but 1856, whatever. Oh, this one right here. 1858. Actually, by 1858, the United States declared an end to the conflicts and whatever. So there really was no time to become a slave. But at the same time, when they get there, they have their guns with them, as we will see in one of these pictures of the Seminoles. And you got this guy right here with his rifle right there with him, right? And then we heard this thing where this dude says what we heard, right? So the fact that they say they don't wear no guns, slaves don't wear no guns, they wouldn't have been no slaves. There was never slaves to these folks, even though these folks keep lying about them being slaves. And in fact, we know that that's what got them out of the money right here.
Now, nearly 200 years later, comes the $56 million payment from the federal government to compensate the tribe for those lost Florida lands. But the black Seminoles can't share in it because the government and the tribe say they were slaves of the red Seminoles back then, and as slaves could not have owned land.
Now, they said the government and the tribe said it. So the government is saying that it was in the paperwork. Why would the government be saying it? Because they were part of that whole treaty. And now this is where that treaty at from the Seminoles website. I got a little copy of that. Yeah, this is the Seminole Nation. Now, in 1866, everybody want to sign a treaty all of a sudden and start calling motherfuckers freedmen or African descent in these motherfuckers. And they do it like within some of the first articles, as if they trying to hurry it up and get it out the way. Like, let's first say, let's get them niggas out. And then, the rest of the treaty, right? But Article 2 talks about, among Seminoles are many persons of African descent and blood who have no interest in property, blah, 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 blah. So it talks about people being African descent and being possibly being slaves prior on here. So according to them, you were a slave on paper, and according to them too, when they were going around with a census form, they made you a slave on paper. So that's that whole reclassification. But it may seem like it's nothing. People are saying, hey, it's just a little reclassification, but people were literally not able to get their payouts based upon that. Like here, it says basically somewhere in here that it says that they can't share in the profits of or whatever. It says somewhere in there. Let me see if I can find it. Maybe it wasn't the Seminole one that said, or maybe it said it down in another article, but it might not have been the Seminole one, but it labeled them a slave. It might have been the Cherokee or the Choctaw one. All of them had a slightly different wording. And one of them had specific wording that they weren't going to be part of any of the money. But either way, it does show them to be a slave. So it's saying that they can't share into the money. But that doesn't even make sense. It's like, why can't I share into the money just because I was a slave? Even if that was the case. But we know that it wasn't the case because they were runaway slaves, supposedly, coming there for refuge. And the runaway slaves was Yamassees. And they wasn't really runaway slaves. They was runaway Indians from an Indian war, the Yamassee War. Right? Now, maybe some got captured and were enslaved while some ran away. And then eventually some of those captured ran away all as well. You can call those runaway slaves. But technically, they would. Well, I will say this. They did say that they were slaves to the Creeks, not necessarily the white folks. So they were also slaves to the Creeks at one point and with some runaways. So convoluted story, but at the same time, they would be your likely people you would label as your slaves or whatever, but they wasn't slaves, especially when they went down into the Seminole area. They was fighters. They was the protectors. They was all of that of the war. And these people don't know basic history of the Seminole people, but they act like they be on these motherfucking live streams and these other stuff. They act like they want to hear more information. Now, this is one of those other ones. Now, notice this is the Creek Treaty. Now, Creek Treaty was also the Seminoles. The Seminoles kind of was under Creeks because Seminoles had what? Creek Indians, Chuchis, Yamassees, whatever. So just think about that. There was a Creek Treaty and a Seminole Treaty, but the Seminoles were still kind of under this. But in 1866, they also, in Article 2, wrote a African descent thing. The African descent thing that they wrote about in here. Excuse me. And this is a little bit longer, so I might say somewhere here, the rights and privileges, descendants of the same race, lawfully resign, protect a person, somewhere, I don't know, or it might have been the Choctaw one, but either way, you got these treaties, and they all was on the same thing. Now, we already saw that those who were here yesterday, that these treaties were
each of the 5 civilized tribes, which include the Cherokee, Creek, Choctaw, Chickasaw, and Seminole nations, as these were the major tribal governments originally situated south of the Ohio and east of the Mississippi rivers, and each were independent nations in and of themselves before and after the Revolution. Each also took sides against America during the Revolution. Each was forcibly removed to Indian Territory west of Arkansas by the United States government, and the leaders of each of the 5 civilized tribes were Masons.
Yeah, that's why I took that part. The leaders of all the 5 civilized tribes were Masons. So let's do this. While we're here, fuck it. Who was the Choctaw chief in 1866? There could have been multiple chiefs, but let's see who they say. Allen Wright was a Choctaw in 1866. He was elected principal chief. Maybe that's what I should say. Who's the principal chief? 1866 served to 1870. After his holding, whatever. Okay, Allen Wright. Let's look him up real quick. Allen Wright. Who was that? What did I say? Choctaw. Right. That's him right there. Ain't that a bitch? Choctaw grave site. Let's see if he has a grave site that we can easily see. I guess that's supposed to be him. That's supposed to be him, right? That could just be a whitewashed version of who it really was. Or it could be the one that they put in his place. Let's see what this is in memory. Died at Boggy Depot, and my folks got Boggy Depot on their motherfucking paperwork. Makes sense too because they were Choctaws. AW. What was that? All right. I want to find like something. Let me do Choctaw. We'll just do one more quick search. Mason. Oklahoma's Historical Society. What are they saying? They say something about it. That'd be a good little hard fact if they do. A good page, a good source. Find on page Mason. Is it on here? No, it's not on here. Why'd you take me here then? Hall of Fame. But also, multiple people signed these treaties, but I bet he was a Mason, though. I bet he was a Mason. Now, finding the proof that he was a Mason is another thing. Oh, let's see. It's a wiki, but it says, in 1885, Wright served as editor and translator of the Indian Champion. He was a charter member of the Masonic Lodge in Indian Territory, present-day Oklahoma. He also was a royal member of the Royal Arch Masons in Maryland, which he had joined in 1866. Ain't it a funny year he joined that in 1866? Let me just do that. But let me see if I can find Wright served as a law. And this is Allen Wright. Let me see if there's anything under the images that's kind of like hardcore. Sometimes they'll have their name on a motherfucking wall or something of the Masonic Lodge or something. Let's see. This is Allen Wright. That's his stone. Principal chief, all that stuff. It may not be. It's not as easily available, right? And I ain't surprised. Do they want everybody knowing that this dude was all these folks was Masons? And I'm surprised old dude even said it himself, to be honest with you. Let me just see if it's on this page. If not, I'm going to have to move on to the next one. Mason, nah. So we'll say that was the Choctaw. Who was the Chickasaw principal chief in 1866? Winchester Colbert, one of the Colberts. I'm not surprised about that. So we'll say Winchester Colbert. Let me copy that. Come on now. Winchester Colbert. And we're just going to type first gravesite. Hit up his grave real quick. Goodness gracious, these folks. Looks scary. That's a Colbert. Markers at the gravesite of Governor and Mrs. Colbert. Fake ass shit, man. Ain't no telling what this is, man. I don't never trust none of their old ass photos, to be honest with you. So now that's a little basic. So now we'll just do a quick Colbert. We'll just say Mason. We know Colbert was a damn Mason. Shouldn't be that hard to know, to be honest. Let me see if I can find it on any quick page. Masons, not on this page. Winchester TV, Colbert, Winchester, Oklahoma. The word, actually it tells you right here that the word Mason isn't in that. Mason isn't in that. Mason might be in here. Nope. Man, I would like that. I would love that hard proof. I would love that hard proof. And my bad, I ain't been looking down, y'all. I would love that hard proof to go along with that dude's video. Because, you know, the people going to be like, oh, you can't just believe the white man. He hasn't said it. You can't just go by that. So I always got to triple up on some shit if I can. On some motherfucking facts. To be like, all right, nigga. Debunk all three of these bitches. Levi Colbert, all these other folks. Let me just do this, but there's probably some proof somewhere that this motherfucker got as a damn Mason. But I'm probably gonna have to dig for sure. Show results of Mason. I'm probably gonna have to dig Winchester. I'm surprised there wasn't no wiki about him. There's a wiki tree. Let me just take this off. Let me see if his Wikipedia pops up. I'm surprised there ain't no Wikipedia about this motherfucker. Sometimes you get a quick little basic info on that motherfucker through a wiki. But yeah, oh, no, that's Holmes Colbert. Huh. All right then. He's going to be a little bit harder to deal with. But anyway, I would do that for each one. But as we can see, these people would have been in cahoots, okay? And what you have is this culmination of people coming together, forcing each one of these tribes into Oklahoma, promising them they can all just be living there in peace and harmony, keep their little sovereignty, whatever, reclassify everybody else. And then when they get to Oklahoma, they strip everybody of even that further, or they really, that's when they decide. Because once they got you all together and they done brought in some of these Siberians, they done picked up some Spaniards along the way, all these other ones, they start coming up with them ideas. Now you start seeing them kind of making that switch. 1866, that switch happens. I still don't believe it's just because of the Civil War. All that shit was planned. The adding us down as freedmen was planned. The whole thing of stripping us from our indigenous heritage was planned. The whole thing of us not being able to get any kind of funds was that they was going to send to these tribes was planned, because Albert Pike, who wrote these treaties out, was an attorney. So now we know why. Okay, well, the language must have been in whatever it was, and he definitely wrote in things that was going to favor the bullshit narrative that they're trying to push, which is the erasure of us and the addition of these fake people they've placed in our place. And these people still can't get land like that unless they just buy it outright like any other person. But they don't get no tribal lands. They ain't got no this, that, and whatever. These people just be bullshitting. So let's pull up some shit here, man. Now, we've kind of gone and talked about these Seminoles. We talked about some of these folks and them coming up in here. Now, I'm trying to think. And to be honest, man, I done taught y'all a lot of what I've really been going through in a while. That's really why today I was like, man, I need to, you know what? I need to be looking up, but today I was like, I really need to stop looking at cars. and start looking up more shit about this Jerome Commission. Yeah, and I still got a bunch of tabs of other shit that I need to look into. But that whole Jerome Commission. Let me see what y'all saying. My bad. Replacement was happening for the land. They play the long term game. Yeah, and they enter and it starts off. And I'll give y'all another part of the beginning of the story. It starts off like with the intermarriage, and this is what they do in every situation, man. Every time they take over, they intermarry with the folks, start wars and put in laws and flood in immigrants, intermarry, flood in immigrants, replace the people, act like the immigrants is the people, the real people, and it's not a hard thing to think of. Like it's just like today, the immigrants they be on these live streams today. No, I'm an American, bro. It's the law. It's the law, bro. Yeah, no, bro. If I come in, I get my immigration. I'm with American now, bro. I heard somebody saying that shit earlier, and I was just like, nigga. And they was yelling at him, that don't make you American, but that's exactly what they doing. They get over here, feel like they done got a gift from the American gods, nigga, and fucking, and I didn't even have to intermarry with none of y'all niggas to do that either. Think about that. Like, I just got a little piece of paper and served my time in the military like a good lackey. Let me pull this up, man. Where the hell is that intermarriage? Here it is. So again, like it started off with the intermarriage, and this is 1792, and they was talking about people intermarrying in with the tribes, right? Said it has been suggested that the best method to facilitate the civilization of the Indians and attach them to the United States would be to encourage intermarriages with whites in them. Okay, so think about it. So what are they saying? They're saying, hey, the best way to get them under our jurisdiction and to be on our side is for us to marry them. Okay? And then they'll be cool with us. They even talk about some bullshit African race down here. It says, were I to recommend a similar procedure in order to extinguish the prejudices which exist against the African race and in a measure prevent their incorporation as free citizens, 3/4 of your readers would turn from it with disgust and call it a breach of good manners and a trespass on the feelings of the refinement. This might be urged with some degree of plausibility to the United States. So you got to think about it. Now, for those who don't think they brought any Africans in, by 1792, there might have been a few. Okay? By 1792, there might have been a few because the bulk were supposed to come in between 1715 and 1808, right? Now, I'm not saying that means that these folks was all around at all. Not at all, because they wasn't all around at all. But I will, throw in there that it was mentioned. But they talking really about intermarrying with the Indians. They're not talking about intermarrying with the Africans. That's kind of what I want to throw down there. But when you look at our people, we are the ones, not some Africans, right, who got people who are in our lines. That's why I wanted to harp on that. Because some people look at them and be like, see right there, you dummy. That's you dummy. That's the one they were talking about. You done missed it. Your own source. I debunked you with your own source. That's exactly what they would have done. But as we see here, as you think about it logically, we know our genealogy, and we are the ones who have Europeans in our goddamn tree, not some Africans, and not the natives. The natives don't have them all up in their trees like that. Yeah, I have intermarrying. Exactly, I do too. Good point. Meanwhile, K4 won't allow us to do it because they sleeping them at the image. Exactly, and there's people still doing it. People still sleeping with them. Married Europeans. And don't get me wrong, when you're young and you just out there getting it in, and you ain't had history taught to you, and all of it, and and even when it's taught to you, you'll still go out there. You might do whatever you do. They missed that part. Married European. Yeah, yeah, married. That's yeah. I get what you're saying. Married Europeans, not graped. Not and there be so many people that get on these panels and they talk about how their ancestors was graped and they how do you got that on paperwork? Where on the paperwork did it say yes, graped once and here is the offspring? Like people just be saying stuff. Okay, going with the narrative. You said never. Yeah, where's the ducks? In they brain, because you'll ask them to say you'll say where's the docs, they be like I could pull them out right now. You know, people will never admit when they ain't got some. And you'll say go ahead and do it. And they be like well I don't even think I can. I don't even think I can turn this camera on. No, you ain't getting away from it. But that's what I wanted to show here. Like when I first saw this, I didn't think that. And I damn sure didn't really think this meant that, I didn't really let this phase me. But as I look at it now, it's like, even if somebody wanted to try to say this, we are the ones that they intermarry with genealogically, not some African races. And not some of them. Some of them, don't get me wrong, a few of them folks may have intermarried with some YTs, them natives. But when you look at them ones I was showing y'all in those yearbooks, they really could just look like some fresh off the boat, Filipinos, Mexicans, or whatever the case, Siberians or whatever, right? But this is 1792, and then you got the whole thing going from 1816 up there at the top, and it says right here, if the system it already devised has not produced all the effects which were expected from it, new experiments ought to be made. When every effort to introduce amongst them, the Indian savages, ideas of exclusive property in things real as well as personal shall fail, let intermarriages between them and the whites be encouraged by the government. This cannot fail to preserve the race with the modifications necessary to the enjoyment of civil liberty and social happiness. Okay, so they're saying it again, right? But then when you go down here, you see this copper colored thing. So this is in a different font because this is it's an answer to this. So they cited this and then they're like, okay, this is our answer. And they're like, hey, the notion of marrying our well-formed, high-minded Kentucky boys on the frontiers to some copper-colored, misshapen, stupid Potawatomi ladies of the woods seems not to be very well relished by the male parts of our citizens. And a writer of the Democratic Press seems to think that our beautiful damsels of the West will not thank the Honorable Secretary for proposing to wed them to a set of poor. I need to look at the rest of that. So really what they're talking noise about this, because they're like, hey, we need y'all to marry to some of these folks, some of these Indians. And they say, hey, I don't want to marry one of them copper-colored, misshapen Potawatomi ladies. Now, what kind of, who would they say is misshapen back in the day? They wouldn't call no Siberians misshapen, right? They damn sure wasn't doing that. So you got to think, who was they calling misshapen? I'm gonna let you up here for a second, give you a couple minutes to add to the convo if you meant to. Morris, see if you got something to add.
What up, bro? Can you hear me?
Yeah. What's up, boss? I'll give you a couple minutes to expound or say what you got to, man. What's happening with you?
What's up, man? Hey, we were on the line the other day, man, and I was talking to you about my family from Wewoka.
Yeah. I remember you. What's up, boss, man?
Man, hey, not too much, man. I'm gonna make it brief, but I'm about to show you something that probably no one has ever seen. I'm sorry, man, my son in the background. But
Oh, it's all good.
man, you remember I was telling you about how my family had been in Oklahoma since like the 1830s, 1840s, right? And everybody in my family received land. And man, you have to forgive me. I ain't really like. I'm gonna turn this camera on real quick.
I got you.
All right, I don't know. All right. So and remember I told you my family's last name is Dindy, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what you're looking at right here, like spread across here, are 20 Bureau of Indian Affairs certified land deeds. And you remember that picture of
Wow.
the Caesar Denny that we were talking about the other day.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, I just seen the name.
Yeah,
Whoa.
this is our family roll number right here.
Yo, that shit official, official, official. Got
Yeah,
seal on
man.
them hoes.
Yeah, man. And this right here is this containing 30 acres, and this December 24th, 1897.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
wow.
And if you want to take a look here, I believe it was certified. Okay, it's certified approved August 21st, 1912. And Oklahoma became a state in 1907. So that's Caesar Dindy, 30 acres right there. Ben Dindy. This is 40
Mm.
acres right here. These are all certified. What is
Wow.
right there? 160. Ben Dindy right here. My family,
Wow.
same thing. And this is all, as you can see, this is all in Seminole
Look at
Nation
all
too.
them dindies.
Yeah, man. 25 acres right here. Man, and probably I'm
Yo.
right there. So, man, I have a lot more, man, in Seminole Nation, Muskogee Creek Nation, Indian Territory. Let me see, I got that right there. My whole family. That's why I'm saying it's important. My whole family last name is Dindy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this right here, this one looks a little different since it's from the Creek Nation. And I'm trying to find how many acres it is on this one here. I think they wrote this one out. Southeast. This is section 31 township, and this is 119 acres. 119
Wow.
right there. Yeah, man. So, and it's more.
That's amazing, dude. And they got, I mean, that's real paperwork. Like that's like and you ain't even got a show, man. But I more than appreciate people getting to see this because people need
Yeah,
to see like this is a reality. You know,
yeah, man.
that's
Yeah. So,
amazing.
yeah, man. So, hey, brother, I appreciate you, man. So, thank you. I just wanted to get on here, and I just wanted to get on here and show you this, man. So, I appreciate it. And I saw you on here a little bit ago, man. So I tried to run and find him. I was like, man, hopefully he's still online by the time I make it back, man. But yeah, this is real deal. This is like over 2,000 acres that I got right here.
Wow. So y'all been through a process. Well, you ain't got to go through the whole thing, but y'all basically been through a process to basically get it back, or y'all have always
Yeah,
had it.
yeah, yeah. So this the deeds that we have, it has something in here written out called inalienable land, which means it can't be sold, taxed, right? So this has been in my family, this land, and this is just the portion that my pops gave me. I didn't even know he had it. Like he was like, "Hey son, I'm pretty sure you can do something more with this than I can," and he just gave it to me,
Wow.
man. But yeah, just like I was saying the other day, like imagine you like your parents, your grandparents, your great, and so forth and so on, like, and all your cousins and everybody in your family received land, right? That's literally how it was for my family from being there so
Mm.
far.
Hmm. And I mean,
Yeah, man.
and there's so much that could be done with it. I mean, there's many different strategies. Ain't no telling how many people are on your land that you could possibly do something with, get some kind of fees or rent or whatever the case, lease off of them, or ain't no telling what you can do, or you can develop or whatever the case. But either way, the fact that it's coming, it's in your family and it's in your name. That's amazing,
Yeah,
dude.
man. And yeah, so I just wanted to run this by you because I know a lot of us we talk about it, man. But there's 80 acres right there. That's Sue Denny. Yeah, man. And I
Man, so
think
it's like each person got a little something. Everybody got something up in
yeah,
there.
yeah. So
Wow.
Sue Dendy right here. This is two pieces of paper. Two deeds. Sue Dendy there. Sue Dendy on that one as well. And this one's for 40 acres, and this one is for 80 acres. So it's 120 total for Sue. And man, yeah, man. And we've been through the probate process and everything, man. It's, Rebecca Dendy. So yeah, being the only family, and like I said, like we're literally the only family in this whole country with our last name, man.
That's wow. That's why, like I told you, I went to school with a Dindy, but I also
Yeah,
went to school with a Bruner, and ain't
yeah,
great. Like all these surnames was in Oklahoma, going to school together. To be honest with you,
yeah,
shit is kind of
yeah, man.
wild. To be honest.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I ain't gonna take up too much more of your time, man. I just want to get on here and show you that, man. And again, this is Caesar Dendy right there, man.
Yeah, the Caesar Dindy one right there, like man, and that's Caesar Dindy or Monday Dindy. Now is Monday Dindy different from Caesar Dindy?
It's the same person, but the
Same
names are
thing.
interchangeable. Yep. And then
Mm-hmm.
there's also two Caesar Dendys, but the original one is Caesar Monday Dendy.
Oh, Caesar Monday Dindy. Okay, okay. And you know what's funny about that is because they came up first over there in the Florida, South Carolina area, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yep,
And so
yep.
one thing is his name is Monday, or however they got that name. But like one thing they try to do in these Geechee documentaries, they try to say, well, given it was an African practice to give their people days, name their kids the days of the week. And so they was
Yeah,
like, so if you see somebody like over here named Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or whatever, that's
yeah,
because it was an African thing.
yeah. But you know, like we can say that. I mean, you have to keep in mind, that there were Africans that you know, uh, I just say mate for lack of a better
Landed
term, were
around
integrated.
maybe.
Yeah, integrated. With the with the other Indians that were in Florida, and created an ethnogenesis of people. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a new group of people that was formed in Florida. So so the African part that may still be there, of course, in terms of like the name pattern, but my family's last name is definitely not African. It means
Yeah, and,
you
and,
know
and see, I don't really see that pattern in Africa. Like I ain't never seen no African come up saying my name means this day of the week, stuff like that. But I did see it on some Indians here and there. So
yeah,
and I didn't know if they were just trying to whitewash out the history or blackwash, out the history of
yeah,
that, especially with its name being Monday. Now the
yeah,
southern coast down there is the only area that, and some in the east coast is the only area I really give a little credit of some Africanness going to, because I've seen some records. Now, whether
yeah,
people have those in their tree or not, that's up to them if they find it in their tree. But in many cases, I have seen some account books and some different things manifest that will be down in South Carolina and some of them. So y'all might have a few ones
yeah,
mixed up in there, but I think most of y'all are just some Indians.
yeah.
But I think that that's the paperwork there. That's the Freeman application right there. I used to read those like crazy. Um, yeah, man. So and that's the last name Lottie. I've seen some people last name Lotties. Um, yeah, I definitely see. And there's Lottie. We used to live. There's a street called Lottie in Oklahoma on the east side. But yeah, man, no, I think that's amazing. Regardless of whatever, y'all getting y'all land, y'all got y'all shit going, y'all can start moving forward as a family and doing whatever. Maybe they just leave it all to you and you got to figure it out. I'm sure you can figure it out, and if not, we can help find somebody to help you figure out what the hell to do with all that. I don't know who, but we can find somebody shit. But I wish y'all definitely wish y'all all the best with it, and I
Appreciate it.
hope more people use this as motivation to look through their records and see what they can find. And because I got land patents, I'm gonna have to just go through the process. To be honest with you, I got some in Little Rock and some other ones, and they say that they're supposed to be sold. I mean, not sold and to be passed down to the heirs and blah 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 and all that stuff. So I definitely need to get on that same footing like you did. But I think it's amazing that you showed that, boss.
Man, hey, no problem, man. I appreciate it. I'm gonna let you get back to it, big dog. Thank you again.
Yeah, no problem, man. Appreciate you coming up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man, that's amazing, y'all, man. To see real world tangible proof that people are going through a process, getting it, and it actually happening. Because what you hear is sometimes you see a lot of people claiming it, and you see a lot of people will claim it just so they can, and even say that they got the land just so they can have a good talking point on the live stream. Yeah, you just don't even know. I already got mine back. We be over exaggerating, but some people actually do, and in many cases, some of these people I do believe. I don't want to say it like that. Many people I do believe, but some people just be getting a little extra. But when you can see the actual proof, man, that's always an amazing thing. And I've seen proof from enough people to where I'll say this: I've seen proof from enough people to where I don't even need to see any more proof. If somebody does claim it, I really just kind of believe it and be like, I bet they did get their motherfucking land. You know what I'm saying? If they said they went through their genealogy and found patents and got it, hey, shit, I'm with you. You know what I'm saying? And I'm about to be on that same wave. What'd you put down there, CR? Ancestral land cannot be sold. The Descendant Project.org. What's the Descendants Project.org? I'll go to it real quick. Oh, excuse me, y'all. The Descendants Project.org. Woodland Plantation. Oh, you spoke on them before. That's the see, liberating Louisiana descendant community from legacies of slavery. Learn more about the. I like stuff like this. I want us to be more on uh, 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 a message of the legacies of. I'm trying to think of a better way to word it. I just don't want us to always be focused on the slavery part, but I get what it is because it's like that's so much more. Because like the slavery ain't really why y'all got the land taken. The land was taken because really land was taken for many other reasons than just the slavery. But also we some of us got tricked out of the parcels when we did sign up to be freedmen, and then they still fucked us over in the end, even on the freedmen signed up. So still they still owe us, but that's a bigger story than just that. But what's this about? I'm still trying to figure. My bad. I was still trying to figure out what we do. My bad. What we do initiatives. The Liberation Library. And don't get me wrong, because we were all classified as slaves on the census record, it did kind of fuck us over out of a lot of things. You couldn't buy land in certain areas, but even then, even that was kind of some bullshit. So think about it like this. I'm gonna think about it like this, and I'm gonna get this person up who's requesting here in a second. Think about it like this: if you already living on the land, which when they move in, let's say when they move into Alabama in the 1820s, niggas was already living on the land, had their own folks, and maybe even had some slaves or some white folks, right? But you couldn't own land necessarily because you were a slave or a black person, right? But you was a slave owner. But you was a landowner. But how could you own land? And so what do I mean by this whole own land? Well, now that they done pulled in, you was already on the land. Now you just got to go get a piece of paper somewhere to say you own the land, right? If you was already on it, what makes you own it? If you was already on it, what makes you own it? I'm sorry. That means I got to go, I guess, buy it from somebody. I was already here, but now I got to go buy it from somebody. Okay. Well, guess what? If they marked you down as a black person or a slave, you can't go buy. So somebody else would go and buy that land, force you to either get off of it or force you to pay um, a sharecropping kind of rent on the property. And so these were other ways to swindle people out through slavery. So through slavery classification, but I would say it's really more misclassification. We'll get this person up here, see what they're saying. They might have accidentally requested. I think they accidentally requested. Yeah, they accidentally requested. They gone. No. I guess there you go. Uwago, whatever the heck. How can I help?
My name is pronounced as Yugo.
And what is that? It sounds African.
It is kind of an Igbo name, a name and an Igbo word to an Igbo noun. So my name means eagle in the Igbo language, or people can say Igbo.
So you're African?
I am Nigerian American. I also have ethnic background too, ethnicity too, ethnic heritage somewhat.
What's an ethnic heritage?
Efik. EFIK, like it's like another tribe in the Calabar.
Essex?
Efik. EFIK. EFIK.
ESIK? Is that an Indian tribe? Is that an Indian tribe or what is that? A Essex tribe? Did you go? Are you Alaskan native? Calabar, Nigeria.
No, I'm no. That's the wrong spelling. No. EF as in
Yeah.
No. Backspace again. Again, backspace. Okay, put the F. F. No, F. F as in
Evans and
Okay,
Frank.
yeah, ethnic tribe. Yes, there.
The Efik tribe is an ethnic group primarily located in southeastern Nigeria. Oh, okay. So you're okay. You're African.
I am also from the Igbo tribe, spelled IGBO too.
Oh, okay. How can I help? How can I help your Africanness?
No, I just came to join the live because I don't know if you were presenting something.
Yeah, I'm always presenting stuff. I'm always hitting up the facts.
All right.
You just want to watch and get the game?
Yeah, was it, are you doing a presentation?
Yeah. It's a presentation.
Yeah, what was it about?
What's the presentation about? Indians,
Oh, is it
Black Indians.
American Indian?
Mm-hmm.
That was even where the ancestors of the Igbos came from. They came from here in America too, but they were kind of shipped.
You're saying that that y'all came from us from America, or we came from y'all?
No, we came from you. We came from America too, just like you. But the transatlantic, whatever happened, and people were getting shipped off, deported, exiled from their land.
So you say the people in America are Africans?
No, 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 no. I'm trying to say people in Africa, they descended from America.
Ah, okay, okay, okay. That's what I thought you were saying, but I asked you that other way just to triple check you wasn't going that way. Okay, okay. Well, what made you? How'd you come to that knowledge?
It just made sense to me. Like, I saw similarities between Igbo and the Native Americans, how they dressed and looked like. And then one lady also shared that the Igbo tribe, they came from America and people came with boats to try and take them, and they resisted and fought when they got into the boat. When they lured them inside, they saw shackles and stuff indicating they were going to be taken and enslaved, and they started fighting. So, they fought and then they went underwater to preserve their dignity, maybe to just symbolize death over slavery.
Mm, okay. Where would be, or if you know, where are some of the best places or books to look in for the history about that or those tribes?
It could have been like on, I don't know, on record or document. Like, I think there's a video I saw of the Igbo landing, of the lady explaining and coming out with her own receipts too of how, like, the Igbo tribe really, they came from America and they were being shipped to West Africa too. And
Mm.
some, I don't know. Do you want me to show you her channel?
If you want here, I'm gonna look up. Nikki said Calabar has a carnival down there. You know about the carnival? I'm gonna look that up. Syria carnival. It looks like y'all got a carnival down there. Okay, so y'all do celebrate kind of like the Caribbeans and stuff. All right then. I can really get with people that tell the truth. I understand not all Africans come from us, but I do know I have heard. I don't want to say I do know. I have heard about the slave trade going in reverse and some of us being taken over there. Um, and just like of course, the Sierra Leone, of course, but I've heard that it was in other places as well. So I'm not 100% surprised, and it's actually cool to know, cool to see. Because then when some of these people come up and try to say that it's the other way around and we owe them everything, we're not gonna be pompous and say well, y'all owe us everything, but I think that's cool. They got a little cultural continuity from us. But yeah, yeah. Well, all right. Well, I appreciate. I'm gonna get back to the. I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna get back to the whole presentation, but I do appreciate you coming up and spending a little real. The audience felt understood you.
No problem.
Yeah, the audience understood you and like what you said, and I did too, and I really appreciate that. Not everybody gets up and tells us this side of the history, and I think when I start looking more into it, hopefully I learn more about it. So I appreciate that. So yeah, y'all, that's actually pretty cool. That's actually pretty cool. And Nikki, I didn't know you knew that. I said that's true. They shipped many people to Libya. Oh yeah. I said Sierra Leone. It was Libya or Liberia. My bad, Liberia. But probably these other places too. Yeah, these other places too. The Nigerian people that live on the water in Nigeria came from South America. And that's crazy how they trying to flip it the other way around with the Geechee story. As if they're really trying hard to make the Geechee story go the other way around. So no, they do Sierra Leone also. Okay. I was reading an article about that. Sierra Leone too, you're right. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Let me put this right here. So yeah, just jumping back into this little presentation. Um, it's the intermarriage thing that we see here that was causing the infiltration of the tribes. Now they was encouraging that infiltration for many years. This is 1825 right here in the newspapers talking about intermarriage with the Indians, and all the way up until they're like, hey, let me find you one where they really go in about what you get out of it. Intermarriage. Let's see. The Cherokees have adopted. This is what year? This is 1883. Okay. And it says, and notice this right here. How many white men get a wife and a farm too? Notice that as the headline, okay? And notice it says intermarriage of Indians, Negroes, and whites, right? But it says though Cherokees have 4,478 adopted whites who have married Cherokee women and have all the rights of a citizen of their nation. Now let's check the census record for the tribe at that time and see how many Indians was available in the Cherokee. I think they had quite a few in the Cherokee Nation. Cherokee Nation supposedly had 22,000 around this time at the nation and 29,000 white folks. Now, that's not an impossible thing, right? Still unlikely probable, but what's impossible is just 48,000 being interwed with barely 5,000. That's not an 8, that's a 3. Barely 5,000 folks. Now, that's impossible, okay, for there to be white claimants, whatever there. So because that's so grossly impossible, I feel like that is damn near impossible too, okay, for them to be doubled. Not double, but be the same amount as the tribe. But let's go back. And this is 1883 right here. Talking about the Cherokees. That was 1890 something with that thing I just showed you. So that was, I mean, you know, they talking about right here. Okay, let's keep going. Who have adopted Cherokee women and all the rights of the citizens of the nation. And it says, and they have all the rights of the citizens of the nation. It says, an Indian maiden will choose a white man for a husband every time, for he makes a better provider than the Indian. By marriage, she thinks she confers a great honor on him in thus elevating him to citizenship in her nation. Okay? And conferring upon him free lands, no taxation, office of the tribal government, and other annulments. Okay, so marrying in gets you free land, no taxes, right? That's why they'll be leaving the colonies to get away from taxes. Office in tribal governments, which we know some of the people had office in tribal governments, and we can see that. I'll show you that. And other annulments, emoluments. I mean, my bad, annulments, emoluments, whatever. Many of these half-breed Cherokee women are cultivated in mind, beautiful in person, industrious in habit, and will compare well with the more favored women in the north and east. They have magnificent heads of hair, long and black, all their own, and with the jet black eyes and pearl teeth, dressed in something. I don't think I got the whole thing. I think this is the rest of it. Let me see. Is this the same one? Yeah, Oswego. In the eastern remote part or original inhabitants are country known as squaws, talking about the women, a name long repudiated here. Let it be known then that white men or of worth and character are popular among the beauties of the territory, and 4 out of 5 who come to make a home among them marry these dusky maidens, get a citizenship, surround themselves with ample acres and the comforts of life, participate in affairs of government, and become the most active and wealthy citizens in the territory. Now, that's pretty much some propaganda to try to really get you to go over there. All of these people weren't trying to just go, all of these women weren't going out. Ain't nobody just going after white T folks like that. Come on now. Besides white T women, they don't quit playing these games. And that's why I was telling you, like, when I was showing you those people who were here as Indians at the time, later that they bring in later, and I was like, they don't look like they've been like super mixed with YTs. As I'm showing you here, they're saying 4 out of 5 of the motherfuckers was marrying with people. That's why I'm saying it all has to be a lie. It all has to be a lie because we're not 4 out of 5 of our people didn't do it. Okay, now a lot of us have a YT person in our line, so I will say, but at the same time, sometimes they married in, sometimes they, sometimes they cloak themselves in it and they did some identity theft shit, whatever the case may be. But either way, we know 4 out of 5 definitely didn't, and definitely not they folks because they still look like they folks, like fresh off the boats. But again, but this shows a motive too. What's a good motive for identity theft? Well, telling these people, well, because just like I showed you, let me just say this, just like I showed you in, I don't want to lose that one. Okay, I shouldn't lose it. Just like I showed you in this one, they wanted to encourage people to marry the Indians, right? But down here, they're talking shit about it. They're like, I think it's fucked up that you want us to marry these copper colored misshapen Potawatomi ladies. So that's the sentiment of the people. So here they are still trying to encourage by giving them saying, hey, look, man, I know you don't want to marry these folks out here, but you can get some bread. You can get some bread. You can get some land. Where'd it go? You can get some bread. You can get some land. You can get no taxes. It says right here. Let's see. Surround themselves with ample acres and the comforts of life, participate in affairs of government, and become the most active and wealthy citizens in the territory. A chief trait in the character of many white men, both in the country and out of it, is to get possession of its productive lands. Now, listen to that again. A chief trait in the character of a white man, both in this country and out of it, is to get possession of the productive lands. I mean, they just basically tell you that right there. Okay? Hey, get you one of these women, cause you could get some land. Cause we white and we like to get land, right? Literally telling you flat out. Okay. All right, well, let's keep going. What is where I lose? A cheap trip or whatever. Okay, by committing matrimony, they can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I haven't read this in so long, so this is really kind of wild to me. It's been a minute. I'm pretty sure it's wild when I screenshot it. That's why it's got a screenshot. You can kill 2 birds with 1 stone, y'all, by doing matrimony, then taking the lands. Get a farm and a wife. Get a wife and a farm too, like I said at the top. It is expected, therefore, that mercenary motives, lie at the foundation of matrimonial movements. Yeah, mercenary motives. The Cherokees are proud of their blood, and every white man who has a drop of Cherokee blood in his veins will appear at court and prove it and become legally recognized as a Cherokee. See how the one drop rule actually helped them? Knowing we are the Cherokees, knowing we are the what you call it, we thinking one drop rule, oh, they ain't gonna allow me to be something. Ain't gonna allow me to be a citizen, or I mean, they gonna treat me like a slave now, or whatever. I got one drop. No, they took that one drop and they said, no, I got one drop of y'all blood, nigga. Let me up in the tribe. Let me get a little bit of this bread, get this land. Let me get this motherfucking chief spot off you. Yeah, I'm gonna take my 189th blood and get up in this chief spot. Okay? So it says, it sometimes appears that a man learns that one of his ancestors married a Cherokee in Georgia or Alabama and that he has a little Indian blood in him. He then forthwith makes out application and files. As soon as he finds out, what? I got a little what? Oh, well, let me get some of that land. Okay. He then forthwith makes out an application and files an affidavit in proof of the fact. Hence, we have many who have called Cherokees who are as white as the whitest man in New York or New England. And look, you know how we know that that's true? Because there was a ton of white people in the fucking tribe right here. 29,000. There was more white folks than there was your so-called whoever they want to say was Indians. And then you had your Negroes. Could these be a mixture of mulattoes and whites? I'm kind of guessing that. I feel like this might be who are a mixture of mulattoes and some of the Siberians. They started bringing them in around this time. This is 1894. So around this time, yeah, I think it's a mixture of Siberians and mixed breeds and Mexicans and whatever. But that's just my take. So it says the Cherokees, blah blah blah. Sometimes the prison man learns ancestors, makes his way for white New York. Okay. Of such applications, 265 have been accepted and 521 rejected. This shows that the Indians are particular to preserve their tribes from extinction, and yet be just to every man entitled to citizenship. That's us trying to be right, trying to do the right thing. Oh well, he do got a little blood in it. You know his great granny is black. Okay. I don't care how many. Yeah, you can. We can't deny the great granny that's Indian. He done mixed out with like 5 other people. Well, somebody gonna let him in, okay, with the little whatever. So I get it, But okay, it says this shows blah 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 blah. In the Cherokee Nation, there are 5,352 white men who are not citizens. Why are they there then? Why are there 5,352 white men in the Indian tribe who are not citizens? I guess they're just living on the area. Why? What are they doing there? The only reason they say we was there because we were some slaves. Why was y'all there? It's some bullshit either way, but they include various trades and professions. Some of them keep great herds of cattle and make large amounts of money from these splendid pasture lands. There are from 8,000 to 10,000 colored people in the entire territory, and from 10,000 to 12,000 whites, all among blah, blah, blah. I need to go really find the rest of that. I'm really curious what the rest of that says. I might have it. Yep, I have it. Caucasia. Let's look at this shit. Okay. There are 8,000, okay, 10,000. So there was equal amounts of damn near black and whites, a little bit more whites. And just think about this, y'all. None of these people, you got all these people in the tribe, but when I show you these Indians in these yearbooks, they don't look like they've mixed with not a single person. That's why I showed y'all that, right? They don't look like they mixed with not a single motherfucking person. Even when we go back to the early ones from 1913, and I think I got a picture from 1902. But we go back to that Chilocco one from 1913, if I can find it. Oh, this is 1919. We'll look at 1918, the Carlisle. Go back a year before that. Right here. So even when we look at this, and we look at some of these folks in this yearbook, it takes a slow time to pull up. Let me find a page with a lot of them. Damn it. Long story short, these people don't look like they mix with anybody. Here's some of the folks. This thing be restarting itself, pissing me off. But there are some of the folks that don't look like they've been mixed with anything except for some other inconspicuous thing that's in between a white and anything else. Especially people like this. Like, none of these people look like they've been mixed. And for all these tribes, and you think about it, and that's for all of this, for all of these tribes, let me go back to this real quick. For all of these tribes on the census to have such a high amount of so-called black and so-called, not so-called, and the white folks, it's impossible for them to be like, oh, we didn't mix with them. I don't want to say that, but you know what I mean. I just don't think they were around, period. So you got 50,000 of them, you got 20,000 of us, and 109,000 of them. And I don't want to say that's just us because that's us up over here too, some of us. But regardless, that number pales in comparison to these folks. So, and then they was talking about all this whole everybody being married. That's why I'm like, it's a whole lie because nobody looks like they've been mixed in those damn books. And I think I showed. I think I moved away from it, but whatever. Y'all seen those books? Who was looking at them earlier? So let's finish reading this. It says the human whites and the human countenances. The human countenances present among us a brilliant rainbow of colors, from the deepest jet of Africa to the purest white of Caucasia. This is a land of mixtures, of the intermarriage of races. As you can see, they're really this is really propaganda. This is really them lying, right? We can look and see what some of these folks was looking like. Now this is 1883. I can even pull up their whole little bullshit ass Carlisle school photograph. I guess I'll pull it up afterwards. That shows the people in the 1880s. They didn't look like this. And we got some in 1890s and 1900s, some photographs, and they don't look like they've been mixed. They don't look like a rainbow of colors. Okay, if it's supposed to be a rainbow of colors from the jet black of Africa to white of Caucasia, why don't I see that? But it says this is a land of the mixtures of interraces. Indians are married to Negroes, and whites are married to Indians, and to Negroes also marry wherever the white blood is intermingled through marriage with either Indian or Negro blood, the white principle prevails in the children. Y'all hear that? Listen to this. This is what they said. Wherever the white blood is intermingled through marriage with either Indian or Negro blood, the white principle prevails in the children. Now we all know the difference between recessive and dominant. I don't know what the hell they're trying to pull here, but okay, let's keep going. Hence, it is that we have so many white Indians and white Negroes. One might visit whole villages along the Missouri Pacific Railroad without the least suspicion from the appearance of the inhabitants that he was in an Indian country. Now, just think about that. Just think about this. If they're telling somewhat truth, a little bit of truth, of there being a little bit of mixtures, right? This means that they realize those mixtures are there, right? That's why when I said I believe that this category is likely full of mixed breeds and Siberians, and then they tried to put the darker ones out and force these people into anti-miscegenation laws where, hey, don't go mixing with any of these folks over here. We need to get you back on this side of the game, right? We need to get you back on this side of the game as we whiten you out, right? But regardless of that, that's kind of what's going on. Okay, let's see. The land of mixtures of the intermarriage of blah, 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 blah. One might be, okay, I said that right. If the intermarrying goes on in the future as it has in the past, every particle of Indian and Negro physiognomy and color will disappear from the people of this land. Look, y'all, I ain't read this in a while. This motherfucker really telling you, this whole article right here was telling you they playing. Telling you they playing right there. Literally telling you they playing wishful thinking exactly, because it damn sure wasn't going to happen. Now, if people want to believe that these people weren't trying to whiten us out or breed us out or get us out, or if they got in the newspaper that they was thinking about breeding us out, it ain't hard to think that they was gonna paper genocide us out. People make it seem like that's just far fetched thinking. How would they just conspire against you like that? How come you think they would just go around and just come after just you? Yes, dummy. They even said it in the newspaper. That was just playing. Okay? You can't just believe everything in the newspaper. That's a whole story. Okay. This ain't where so they had it. True. Yeah, they knew that they wasn't gonna be able to breed us out. Our women wasn't getting with them 2-inch, 3-inch nigga mofos like that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Oh, scraggly face, scrawny body, 3-inch, pale ass, body ass, weird looking shit when you got a tan on your arms and you ain't got the tan on your body, motherfuckers. They body look like a goddamn rainbow when you put it in the sun. Let it burn some parts, tan some parts, red some parts, pink some parts. They look like a damn rainbow, nigga. Not us, nigga. We look like the motherfucking shades of the copper, nigga. We look like shades of the trees, shades of the dirt, of the soil. I want to say dirt. Shades of the soil. Soil sounds like something you nourish. Dirt sounds like something in Africa. Dirt sounds like something in Africa. Soil sounds like something you do, something that's fertile. Like our women. Our women are really fertile. What's up, Obi-Wan? I had to roll me up another one. I'm trying to think about what the hell I'm going to eat tonight. Should be cooking something, but now I done got on this live stream, so now your boy throwing out the game. But I'm going to be doing a lot more live streams. I don't like to, like I said, I don't like to work my detail company in the motherfucking wintertime. And to be honest, I got a contract through BMW, not a contract, a relationship. Contract means they're obligated, but I got a relationship with not necessarily BMW, but a contract company that works for BMW for their events. And every year around December, they have a big marathon event where they ship out 25 to 30 cars, brand new cars. And they all need to be clean before they placed up on the on the thing. And then they're like inside they put a bunch of them inside the convention centers. And then, you know, people come up in there. There's all kind of vendors and shit up in there. But they also have like a whole marathon race outside every year. And they got a bunch of cars that's always there, and the news is always there. They flying helicopters over there, and they do. Cars got to look perfect, you know what I'm saying? Tires got to shine. Motherfucking shit got to look right. But anyway, I say that to say, I get that shit every year, and that shit will carry me damn near 2 to 3 months. So, just that one little 4-5 day event, nigga, I be good for that. I be like, shit, my winter time, nigga, I'm good for the winter, nigga. Y'all can have all this. I give all the rest of my work to my guys. I still make some money off of them, obviously, but you know, I just I'd be good. I sit up in the crib, nigga, pay my rent up, pay everything up ahead, be good. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know how it is in these streets. All right, let's finish read this. If the intermarrying goes up in the future as it has in the past, every particle every particle of the Negro and Indian physiognomy will be gone from this land. As the English language is uprooting and banishing Indian dialect. Now listen to that, man. As the English language is uprooting and banishing Indian dialect, so white will in time. Why did they say it like that? So white will in time ex extirpate. What the hell? Extirpate both black and copper color. What does extirpate mean? EXTIRPATE. I don't know. Let me look that up. I ain't the smartest nigga out there, y'all. EXIRPATA. Extirpate. Did I spell that right? EXTIR, yeah. EXTIR. Root out. Oh, root out and destroy completely. I don't know if anybody knew that already. Anybody already knew that, what the hell that word meant? I did not know what the hell that. What's up, Logan? I did not well know what the hell that word. How do you spell that?
Extirpate.
Extirpate. Huh. Never heard that word. Them damn spells, huh? So what are they saying? They saying what's the sentence saying? As the English language is uprooting and banishing the Indian dialects, so white will in time banish and exterminate, basically, both black and copper color. And notice it says both black and copper color. We not once have seen a copper colored person on their side. Okay, if they don't quit playing. Wherever the white blood prevails in an Indian, the elements of a white man's character prevail. The whiter he gets, the more he cultivates agriculture and commerce. Liberty and law, learning and letters, the Indian problem as it is being solved by the blending of the blood of both whites and Indians in their offspring. Yep. They was pretty damn blunt with what they was trying to do, y'all. That's why we have them in many of our trees. And that also shows you why they go and whiten them out. They said these people start, once you get a little white blood, you start doing white things and doing things more inclined to the things that white people do. Basically is what it's saying there. And you're trying to exterminate the copper color. So how do you exterminate that? By getting with another white person. Okay? So they was pretty blunt with it. Now let's look at another one. What year was that? Let me see what year that was. That was 1883. Now let's look at another one a little bit later. Was that the one I was wanting? No, this one right here. Intermarriages with the Indians, 1888. Let me get a little closer. The House passed Senate Bill 928 in relation to marriages between white men and Indian women. The first section provides that no white man, by marriage with an Indian woman who is a member of any tribe, except the 5 civilized tribes in the Indian Territory, shall by such marriage acquire any tribal property right of interest. So it says that no white man by marriage with an Indian woman who is a member of a tribe except the 5. Oh, okay. Notice what it's saying here. Man, this is the whole erasure for real, y'all. It's saying that, hey, if you're a white man, we want you to marry these Indians. But if you marry one of them Quapaws, if you marry one of them Geechees, if you marry one of them Yamassees, if you marry one of them other folks out there, you don't get none of that land and stuff like that. But if you marry one of these 5 civilized tribes, the ones that have white folks in them heavy at the time, the ones that have chiefs that are head masons at the time. Oh, they want to let you know you need to get in one of these tribes. Yeah, and so much so we're gonna pass a bill to encourage you even further to do that. to say, hey, if you go, why go get one of them other Indians? You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna get none of that land. You know what I'm saying? So it says right here, the second section provides that every Indian woman of such tribes who has been or may hereafter be married to any citizen of the United States is hereby declared to become by such marriage a citizen of the United States with all the rights, privileges, and immunities of such citizen being a married woman. So they're saying that if you're an Indian woman and you marry somebody that's a citizen of the United States, you'll be a citizen. It says the third section provides that when such marriages is required to be proved in any judicial proceeding, evidence of the admission of such fact by the party against whom the proceeding is had, or evidence of general repute of the habitation, blah blah blah. So it looks like you got to prove it. Let me see if I got the second part. Yeah, I do. Partly against the proceeding is whom the evidence of general repute or of cohabitation as married persons, so proof of cohabitation as married persons, or any other circumstantial or presumptive evidence from which fact it may be inferred shall be competent. This bill is recommended by the late Secretary of Interior, Mr. Rogers of Arkansas, championed the bill. He was asked if in the state where women have the right to vote, the squaw becomes a voter, the woman, Indian. He answered, I should think so. That would be a very rare case under this bill. So they're saying basically could the Indian woman vote, but he said it would be a rare case. But as you can see, and now we're going to read another thing. Not this one, but what's this one saying? Okay, now we're gonna go to this one right here. Now that was not the last one was 1880 something. The one before that was like 1883. I think the other one was 1888. Now we're 1900, just a little bit afterwards. Just a little bit afterwards. And it says that the Indian race is about done, for there is no doubt. It all came about by intermarriage with the whites. For the most part, white men are responsible for it because they have married Indian women more than Indian men have wedded white women. In the first place, the Indian women have quite a fortune, and that has attracted some white men to them, while the Indian men are notoriously unkind to their wives and can seldom get an Indian woman to marry them willingly. You ever notice that this sounds like how white folks would say, like if you got like a swirler couple, the white dude that's in the swirler couple, he would say something like this: "Well, you guys don't even appreciate your black queens like I do. Okay, you don't understand them like I do, and treat her like this, and blah blah blah." Yeah, that's exactly what this is. Yeah, y'all don't even care. Y'all make them work, do all this other stuff. That's exactly what it is, right? And it says, in the first place, the Indian and they have quite a force, and that has attracted. I already read that. Okay. In accordance with the general rule of the Indian Department, any white man who marries an Indian woman is entitled to share in the funds of the tribe, just the same as the woman herself. Their children are also allowed their equal share with the mother. Nearly every woman has money deposited with the United States for the land sold many years ago, which brings in a certain amount of income. Some of the richest men in the West are those who have married Indian wives and have a large family of children. The Indian chiefs all try to win a white bride, as it is considered a mark of distinction. Mm. Mm. The government encourages the marriage of white men to Indian women as a true way to civilize the Redskins. And notice how they say the what's up, Tabitha? Notice how they said the Indian men seek white women as a mark of distinction. That's similar to what they say today. We say that today. We'll say like, "Oh man, as soon as you get a little money, you want a white girl. As soon as you get out there in the NBA, you get to be a little doctor or something, you want you a white girl, right?" That's exactly what they saying here. Ain't no different. Ain't no different. And then it says, some of the five civilized tribes controlled by those who have married Indian women, the Chickasaws are very much opposed to white men marrying into their tribe, but none of the other tribes are. Now that was an amazing spot that I always remembered. And then it wasn't until more recently that something came about that this really helps to really fully debunk. So it says the Chickasaws are completely opposed, much opposed, to them getting white men in their tribe, right? But when you go to the census form of the five civilized tribes, they have 48,000. They have the most white people in the tribe. Now, not only does that seem absurd, that's also, see, Chickasaw, that's also impossible since there's only 5,000 so-called Indians at the time. So there's only 5,000 Indians and 3,000 Negroes. How the hell do you get 48,000 white T folks, especially when the tribe is known in the newspapers to not even want y'all to be in there? How would that happen? That's a takeover. They knew they didn't want them in there, and they took it over. That would be your $5, all of them really. But yeah, that right there speaks volumes. Okay, so we talked about this Indian intermarriage thing, right? And how that affected our tribes. Well, it affects it because all up and through this time, as they're doing this intermarrying and getting into the tribes, you'll see a lot of the same people who do it. Let me see. I think I got the paper. It's that there's something else I need. Oh yeah. Let me pull this out. And some of y'all have already seen this, but where is it at? General laws of the Chickasaw legislature. General laws of the Chickasaw legislature, 1866. All right, and let me see if I got a screenshot of the other thing. I may not. May have to pull it up on my MacBook. I need to take a screenshot of this and send it to myself, so I don't always have to pull it up from my MacBook. But that's fine. I'll pull it up. So you got the general laws of the Chickasaw legislature here. Let me open this in. Adobe. Somewhat not as close, but it's still kind of close. But okay, 1866 to the 1868s, right? Now let me pull up something on my MacBook real quick. I should be right next to it. Okay. damn it. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Here we go. Almost there. You know what's crazy? I wrote all these notes about the documentary like maybe a year or so ago, and I'm probably not gonna use none of them damn notes because I've learned way more than whatever the hell I done noted up there. That's a waste of time, but whatever. But these links are definitely gonna be useful. They always are. I'm gonna come into this book entitled "The Chickasaw Loves," right? Some of y'all have seen it. Y'all seen my video, right? Some of you haven't. And this is the Love family. We're gonna go to a certain page where Thomas Love first shows up, and he shows up with some folks. And who the hell is he with? Let me download this page. Allow. I'll send it over to my damn iPad actually. Yeah, let me send that over. All right. It's good to have this on here. So, in here you got Thomas Love the Loyalist, okay? And it says, hey, among the traders that came in here with him in 1766, recorded in the British, blah, 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 it says you got these people, James Adair, really important person, Michael Cheadle, James Colbert, Benjamin Seeley, William Kemp, William James, somebody named McLeish, Pickens, Love, right? So these are the people who you eventually, that was 1766, and 100 years later, those are going to be some of the same surnames. We ain't going to dwell on it, but that you find in the Chickasaw legislature. That's why I also showed the intermarriage stuff, because Colbert's in there, Kemp's in there. There's a Collins and Newberry, but they didn't come with them, but they came with somebody else. George Brown, whoever Smith, whatever. Colbert. Love, Colbert, Kemp, Perry, Love, different ones. Crazy to see Pratt, and many of these. And so these people literally made their way into these tribes, got to be part of these nations, started signing treaties, and this treaty right, or this legislation right here, this legislator, you know why this year is so important? This 1866 to these years, because it's the 1866 treaty that actually wrote us out as freedmen, and all of a sudden they formed a new government. Okay, so after 1866, you got the treaty that we talked about and showed, and then next thing you know, they start writing out niggas, and now all of a sudden they got this new nation government that's filled with white folks. It was the same white folks. They just wrote us out. But what's also crazy is after they finally get themselves and get in there and all that other stuff, when did the Indian governments dissolve? Let me say American. It was before then. Maybe I need to plus it. When did they? Let me do the one in particular, the Choctaw. When did the Choctaw government? What do you call it? I guess I could say dissolve, but there's another word for it. 1906. That's a word for it. 1906. No, it was. That's the word for it. Dissolve. What's up, Chantal Fontaine, and everybody else that's up in here? So look at that. 1906. All of a sudden, the governments have been dissolved. Now you spend all that time getting yourself up in there and into marriage, only to eventually force everybody through a few different treaties to move to Oklahoma, fraudulently through fraudulent treaties in some cases. And then when they get to Oklahoma, you trick them out and do the final nail in the coffin, which is, well, almost the final nail in the coffin, which is removing the black elements out of it. We've done intermarried in, made enough mixed breeds, and brought in enough couple of these little buffer groups toward the late 1800s to where now we can say that we're tricking you and these are the real Indians and you're not. You were slaves, you were freedmen on paperwork, and in 1866 we got rid of you. And then in 1867 and 8, 9 or whatever, they form a new kind of government because as you can see they start at that year with this. And then they're all up in this, showing that they're paying themselves and, governing themselves, but paying themselves money. That's the payments and payouts on the side. So, and they're paying their companies money and all this other stuff. And then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, and I need to look up and see, go a little bit deeper, but all of a sudden somebody decides that, you know what, we need to just get rid of this. Well, that also happens around the same time that, what year did Oklahoma become a state? I almost said that wrong. 1907. 1906, you dissolve the government. 1907. Oh man, Oklahoma can become a state. We got jurisdiction over those folks. They don't even have a government anymore. Now you can technically say all the Indians have been defeated. They're gone. And in a sense, that used to be the narrative, wasn't it? We got rid of all the Indians. But something else happens, though. They got rid of the governments, but what else? When did the governments come back? What year did the Choctaw government get reinstated? 1945. Why would you do that? The reinstatement of the governments occurred in 1945. Well, there's a particular kind of people, though. When was the Indian Citizenship Act? The Indian Citizenship Act was in 1924, where they made what type of Indians? Who got Indian citizenship during that time? Well, it was called the Snyder Act, as some of us already know now, and for those who don't. But in the newspapers, you wouldn't know it as the Indian Citizenship Act. You would have knew it as the Snyder Bill, making Indian fighters United States citizens. Right? And who were those Indian fighters? Those were the ones that participated in the World War. In fact, it'll tell you in the document. Let me actually see. Mr. Snyder's first act was to introduce a bill making each one of the 15,000 people who fought in the last war full citizens. What was the last war? It was the World War in 1919. But we also got the documents of these schools sending these so-called kids from Indian schools to world wars, right? So you think about all the elements that's kind of playing out in between that time. You got Masons getting together to write us out. Out of the treaty, with treaties from every 5 civilized tribes after they forced us out of these lands and they put in a little final end of that. Now they done funneled in all these people and they about to send them overseas and they're going to use them first as bodies for war. And then when they get back over here, they so kind enough to give them Indian citizenship. But then they're going to say that they can call themselves Indians. It's the Indian Citizenship Act. Now, technically they're not Indians, right? Technically they're immigrants and they came from somewhere else. But these are some of the same people who are living on those reservations, like the Apache reservations Navajo reservations and stuff today. That and I could show you like this is one of the students from a school in Albuquerque, New Mexico, right? And he was deployed to war and got back in 1918 or 1919. Okay, served overseas, right? But he was an ex-student at the Albuquerque. Why do I need to know what school he went to? Like in his damn discharge paper from his war. Like is your war papers today gonna mention your high school in that bitch? Yeah, he went to John Marshall High School. He's 30 years old. He was overseas. Like what's the point of that? I don't know. Maybe because that's where they trained for that military school, and then all that stuff. And then you got more people like here's your Navajos, Southern Navajo Agency student. Read the medal of first division. 2 years in France, 9 months in Germany, 2 years in somewhere else, battles of wherever. Okay, I mean these things are pretty damn detailed. Okay, Southern Navajo Agency talent sent by his tribe to the convention of the American Legion, Boston, Massachusetts, whatever. Albuquerque School. I was looking for the school. Ex-student of the Albuquerque School. Okay, because that's important. Like he done served 2 years in France, 9 months in Germany. But what high school did that nigga go to? Because that's important, you know? Or was that a military training facility, as we know, right? Military training facilities. And that's pretty damn sad. So these people are pretty much caught red-handed I can never get them to come up into my live and get some of this damn game, they would be afraid of these facts. And in fact, when I go to their live streams and I pull up some of these things, they start dropping me instantly, to be honest with you. They really just start dropping your boy. And so it's like pointless, but I feel like if I could get off a few of these real fast, yeah, because I see y'all here and blah, 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 and blah, 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 blah. And then they cut my leg camera. I'll be like, damn, at least I got them with 3 of them bitches. At least I hit y'all hoes with 3 of them bitches, man. Come look at your folks. Come look at what your folks is looking like, man. That's 1902. That's what I wanted to show. Even in 1902, none of them fools look like they had mixed. They do not look like a rainbow of colors. Okay, like they said in that newspaper. Oh, so many people mixing. By this time, it's pretty much just a rainbow of colors out here. Where, man? Where the fuck is a rainbow, man? This is the only questionable motherfucker that could possibly have a little melanation, and he is an obvious Chinaman, okay? Phenotype strong. So these people, boy, these people been playing games, man. But I don't have too much else, y'all. To be honest, I don't really have too much else. Probably gonna get off here, may join some panels, may preserve my voice for tomorrow and get on here tomorrow. Really, I probably need to be looking up more about this. What was it? Show y'all so y'all can be and hold me to account. I'm gonna be looking up more about what was it, the commission or something commission, Jefferson Commission. I just want to pull it up so I don't I was looking at them Louboutins as well. Nigga like to get a nice little pair. The Jerome Commission. Yeah, the Jerome Commission. Am I gonna get some Louboutins? We shall see. He's like, what the hell I gotta do with the Jerome Commission? I don't know, but them motherfuckers clean in the bitch. Hold on, let me show you. I ain't gonna lie, I love it. I actually didn't. I used to be a shoe guy. until I got older and really, I knew I was a person that liked to dress up, but I really had to come into my life fashion. I kind of came into the current fashion, the way that I dress up, kind of late. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I ain't gonna lie, them hoes right there is cleaning the bitch. You know what I'm saying? I know it's got it's a little extra with the bling on it. I know that almost films it up a bit, but that bitch is just clean to me. They is clean to me. I will unfilm them motherfuckers in a heartbeat. What's some other pairs that I like up in here, man? I'm really a loafer guy, man. Hold on, let me look at the quick loafers. I'm just like, what this got to do with a goddamn thing? I'm just showing y'all my fashion sense, you know what I'm saying? And I don't even, and to be honest with you, yeah, I look at them on here. Appreciate that, Chief. Appreciate y'all, man. What's up, Chief Sheku? Appreciate that. But yeah, I be looking at them on here, man. But your boy's gonna hit up the Saks off Fifth Avenue every chance I can get. You know what I'm saying? Try to get these hoes for like 400-500. You know what I'm saying? Instead of 1,000. You know what I'm saying? What the nigga can, I don't know why they pulling up the damn shoes. But you know, I was just gonna show a couple things I was looking at. But either way, I'm gonna get on this whole Jefferson Commission situation. Oh no, the Jerome Commission, because we already know that there was rolls done by everybody else, but who the hell was the Jerome Commission enrolling or enumerating? Who the hell were they putting on census forms and whatever on their rolls, so to speak, their version of the Dawes rolls? So I'm gonna be getting on to that tomorrow, or I'm gonna be studying on this tonight, and I'm gonna have some shit for y'all tomorrow, hopefully, and everything else. So you said I've worn mine 2 times in 6 years, a little way, and that's what you're supposed to do. Like I ain't gonna lie, like that's how I did my little Burberrys. But I love them things. Like at first I didn't wear them for like maybe like 6 months. I probably wore them once, and then at one point I was like, okay, I'm gonna wear these a little bit more, and I probably worn them like 5 or 6, 7, 8 times. But you know, with the Christians though, if I don't have me a pair of Christians. I give me a pair of those. It's about preserving that red bottom. You know what I'm saying? That really is all. I'm just trying to preserve that. I might even get one of them little protectors. You can get like a little like almost like how you get a wrap on your car. You can get like a little wrap, a little transparent wrap on the bottom of your red bottoms, and that'll help at least try to keep that red going a little bit longer. For those who don't know, you know what I'm saying. I ain't had a pair yet, but I'm gonna spend that one day. Watch, I'm gonna spend it one day. But anyways, man, I'm gonna get off here, y'all. Preserve my voice a little bit, but I'll be back tomorrow. And we're going to get it in. We're going to get it in for real. And I appreciate y'all. I love all of y'all, man. Love y'all being here. Yeah, come back for the game. Peace, 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 y'all. Peace. Always a pleasure. Peace. I'm gonna start doing it. I'm gonna give y'all time instead of closing y'all right out. I'm gonna give at least like a 30-second pause before I do. Give y'all a second to give y'all's pieces. Yeah, peace, man. I appreciate y'all. Love y'all, man, and enjoy y'all night. Get you something to eat. I don't know what the hell I'm about to cook. You know what? I'm about to cook salmon Alfredo actually, and that shit gonna hit. So I'm gonna make my salmon Alfredo. I hope y'all make something dope, and y'all have a good night.